oh yeah, America should just cut all of its military spending. We should not do any more wars, guys, and we should just like make poor people better. Oh, thank you, Almighty Lord, that you've uncovered the mystery of the universe that has existed for the last thousands of years. You brain dead chimp. The reality is,
you know what's crazy about you?
You're one at it.
No, Danabo, I'm gonna break the wall. I'm gonna break the wall. You looking dumb right now, bro. You looking dumb to everybody. You're looking dumb. I'm just letting you know right now, it's not looking good for you. It's not looking good for you. It don't matter how you think you feel. I'm telling you the truth. Like, it's not looking good for you.
Okay. I know this works for you with everybody else.
I'm gonna give you both. You're both getting 5 for fighting.
My intro is 10 seconds long. Money is fake. That's my answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Hippy Dippy Recruitment. Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thembies, reds and blues and pick-me's too. Welcome back to the Hippy Dippy Recruitment Show with me, your host, Westside Tyler. It's October 2024, and we're bringing you another 2.5 hours of the hot-blooded knockdown, drag-out, big panel debate you know and love. Today's topics include, does the latest jobs report indicate a strong economic recovery? Fun topic, is candy corn good? And should the U.S. prioritize military spending over social programs? We're going to be getting an hour for the major topics of the day, a half hour for the minor topic, and our interlocutors will be given, each individual will be afforded a brief 1 to 2 minute opening statement in the order they were announced, and then we'll hop directly into an open panel. Speakers may be randomly muted throughout the open panel at my discretion to provide other interlocutors time to speak, to control the conversation, or for any other reason I see fit. Finally, each segment will end with a final set of roughly 1 to 2 minute closing speeches. Now, to introduce this episode's wonderful contestants, first, Boss.
Yes, I am the boss, and I stream on Twitch whenever Putin gives me the opportunity to do so, because I do live in Russia. I am Greek, and I sound English, so it's pretty based unless you don't have a VPN. So good luck with that if you ever are in the vicinity. Obviously, when it comes to the jobs report and whether or not, am I doing this right? Yeah, am I going straight?
Just talk about talk about who you are, man.
Cool. So
introduce yourself.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. That's all
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on to Alacrity.
Greetings. My name is Alacrity. I've come out of retirement for about 2 years. You can find me on Alacrity77 YouTube. You just look up Sam Sear Debates Alacrity. I'm not terribly large yet. And I will cede the floor for whoever else wishes to speak. I believe that is brief enough.
Okay, moving on to Nonfon.
What's up? I'm Nonfon. You can find me on Twitch at Nonfon420 or on YouTube on Nonfon. I'm a liberal establishment streamer.
And HalfBakedTakes.
How's it going? I am formerly known as HalfBakedTakes, but you can find my YouTube Todd Allen Kitzler. I've been working in Republican politics for about half a decade now. I'm excited to talk to you folks.
And Maddie.
Now I have it as Stark Raving Maddie, used to be Maddycakes. I used to stream all the time, but prior to that and currently, I'm a political strategist and consultant that I've worked with campaigns at the local, state, and national level, including currently a consultant for a lot of voter mobilization efforts with the Harris Walz campaign. And I'm your run-of-the-mill leftist coastal elite.
Moving on to TheTerk.
Hey, I'm Turk. You can find me over on youtube.com/TheTerk. I do a lot of science and technology, PC gaming, console warrior stuff. I've been doing these politics streams since I think Trump lost last time. So it's good to have a fresh set of faces. Hopefully give you guys a veteran's approach to some of the debating. So good to see you guys.
And Paradigm.
I don't need an intro. I ain't got no slogan. Acknowledge me.
All right. And last but not least, Admiral Gibbs.
Howdy, I am the golden god of conservatives. I'm here to defend America from the left and their evil plans to take you over. You can find me as Admiral Gibbs everywhere. Some other people gave their background. I am a double doctorate, therefore I'm smarter than you.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, and any and all pronoun enjoyers, I want a good, clean fight. Do not violate TOS, do not Fed post, and do not use slurs, including the R slur. Limit personal attacks on the other contestants to facts relevant to the current discussions. Minimize crosstalk and interruptions during opening and closing statements, and defend yourselves at all times. Moving into the first topic, we're going to have, as a reminder, 2 minutes for everybody to go ahead and introduce their opinions on this. Does the latest jobs report indicate a strong economic recovery? Take it away, boss. You have 2 minutes.
Right, let's go. So yes, obviously, this does include or indicate that we are recovering. Now, I want to pay attention to the simple word there, recovering, and not the idea that we've recovered and somehow we're back to 2016 standards or even prior to that, because that expectation would be wild. The number of people increase in the world, the amount of advancements that we have throughout the world increase, and pretty much it's very difficult to even compare ourselves to our history. The only thing we want to understand is, are we making progress and achieving better results going into the future? And that is obviously the case, considering we came in at not only what the expectation was, we absolutely blew through the roof of that. And anybody here who's going to indicate that somehow there's conspiracies and these numbers are butchered, and then we're going to find out that actually they're a lot different. Well, when it comes to a 90% accuracy rate in the margin of error, anybody who understands statistics or analytics, which I would be one of those individuals, you will understand that that basically never happens when you are going to fall out of those ranges. And the lowest that range can ever be is 120,000. So even if you are going to point to that and say that we're going to actually find out it's a lot different than what it currently is, the reality is that the best you're ever going to accomplish is 120,000. And considering that Fox News or the conservatives and the MAGA basically are going to, the best they're going to be able to
30
do
seconds.
is come up with 120,000. So, I'll see what my opponents have to say. So, good luck.
Moving on to Alacrity. You have 2 minutes.
So as for my position on the report, I would say that it at best reflects a mediocre recovery, if it can be called a recovery, and at worst, a masking of a mild catastrophe. Catastrophe may be a bit stronger. However, given the methodology of the report, there's nothing wrong there. One of my opponents just said, obviously, I don't dispute the methodology of the report. But if you actually look at the composition of the numbers reflected in the report, you will find that the 254,000 job increase is not as glamorous as you think it is, especially if you look at the report in totality, along with other reports, such as the Federal Reserve's Beige Book. So while the statistics themselves are not flawed, if you actually look at the composition of the job growth, you will find that the growth is a bit more of a sugar high than a recovery.
Okay, thank you very much, Alacrity. Take it away, Nonfon.
Yeah, I think the jobs report was clearly a pretty good sign, but as Biden said, everything MAGA doesn't like, they claim is fake. So I feel like the only way to get around the jobs report being good is to not fully understand the data and use that to claim it's a conspiracy, or by resorting to anecdote or some other unrelated data set that ends up just proving the economy isn't perfect, which is not what we're claiming.
Okay, moving on to HalfBakedTakes.
Well, as usual, or for at least the last 80 years, the U.S. economy continues to be the envy of the world. However, how quickly we are recovering, or how quickly we are getting ourselves back into a strong economic standing, I'm not totally sure there. What I will say, it's also concerning that we're seeing these upward trends in employment in areas such as food service and drinking places, healthcare, government, social assistance, and construction. You can make an argument for some of these, but I don't know if these are necessarily the industries that we're dying to have, Americans work within. So I'm interested to hear what everybody else's thoughts are, but this is a nuanced topic, and I don't think it's as simple as just saying it is a positive or a negative indication.
Okay, moving on to Maddie.
Academic background is in economics. I have a master's degree in economics, and I've been published. in economics, specifically in macroeconomic growth in developing countries. And I think it's pretty obvious that this jobs report is a massive indicator of economic rebound. And here's the thing, it's not just the job report that is indicative of that. There are a lot of different economic indicators like the CPI, like the stock market, like just overall consumption. And there's different ways and metrics that you can use to evaluate the economic strength of a country and also looking at economic recovery. And the United States right now is overperforming across every single metric. It's not just jobs, it's consumption. It's seeing people starting more businesses. It's seeing people start to consider things like home ownership and starting families. Like, these are all really powerful economic indicators, and we're seeing positive results across the board. You would have to be literally insane to say like, oh no, that's just a lie. Like, nope, doesn't happen. Although I gotta say, I know the Kool-Aid tastes real good. So I understand if maybe you're just like, no, don't believe what you see. It's all a lie. It's terrible, because that's what you've been telling yourselves since what, 2015,
Half an hour.
2014.
Half a minute.
Wake up. Okay, yeah. No, I'm done. Just wake up. Things are good. We can get into the economics of it. Thanks.
Okay, moving on to TheTerk.
Yeah, I actually echo a lot of what Maddie was saying. You know, the jobs report itself isn't the overall indicator of the recovery, but I would also disagree in the fact that some of these other figures she's touting don't really necessitate that we are in fact growing. There's actually factors that are indicating that we're not doing as good as we can, which is why a vast amount of Americans don't like the way the economy is going. They don't trust that the Biden-Harris administration is the right bet going forward into the next election. And I would also say that, you know, like what I think Alacrity was saying, some of the actual nuts and bolts inside of the report just don't really resound with a economic recovery. I like to look at what's actually going on in the real world. The price of gasoline is steady. It's consistent. It's been fluctuating quite a bit in my area. Job postings for my where I work, we're actually pulling back because there's a lot of uncertainty as to what's coming up in the next 12 months. And we don't want to go and hire a bunch of people if we're about to have a stock market crash, recession, all that stuff. So, you know, I'm not as pessimistic as most conservatives would say, but I would also say that, you know, I'm a realist in that, you know, we could be doing better. So I'm a little, you know, it's a good to have the report being
30 seconds
expected. But yeah, that's it.
Okay, moving on to Paradigm. You are muted. You are muted.
Okay.
I think
You're still muted, buddy.
We all acknowledge him now.
Oh, Paradigm.
You're muted, sir. Paradigm, you may not.
I'm acknowledging the fact that you're muted.
It's okay. Sometimes you fuck.
All right, go ahead and fix that for yourself, bud. Let me know with just a small amount of noise when you're back in. Admiral Gibbs, go ahead, take it away. We're gonna keep the show moving.
Yeah, so the age-old adage of about liars holds true here. There are good liars, bad liars, and statistics. But hey, I'm going to add a fourth caveat to that, and let's just include dishonest NIMS. The FBI crime report statistics came out recently, and I don't know if you noticed, but guess what? Crime was higher than ever in 2022. Guess what we're probably going to find out it's true then? The jobs report in July came out. It was off by 818,000. Guess what? They're lying to you about this one. The federal government says only 3.8% people work multiple jobs. However, guess what? Monster.com put out an economic report recently saying that between 35 and 40% of people have to work multiple jobs to get through stuff. So if they tell you otherwise, they're lying. We all know it. Let me give you some other examples here. You know, immigration is a drain on the economy. They said it was not a problem until Texas started shipping these people all over the United States, and those communities revolted because they were taking their jobs and their resources from the communities there, like we saw in Chicago, like we've seen in New York, and these are just blatant facts, and along with the people killing people. I guess killing people is good for the economy, but hey, what do I I know. Hey, you know what? On top of that, gas prices are higher than hell. I left California for TwitchCon, 6.6%. Homelessness is at 15-year high. Nobody can afford a house, and eggs are $4 now. And you want to sit here and tell me things are good, things are bright and shiny? I live in Texas where the economy is decent, and the rest of the economy nationwide is dog shit. And even I'm afraid to go buy some eggs because holy fuck, it's pricier than all hell. And y'all are sitting here telling us to eat shit, and it tastes good. You know what else was accurate? Joe Biden's mental capacity.
30
so
seconds.
Guess what? I don't believe in a single word these dishonest Dems say. You shouldn't either. They've admitted they'll lie to you, and they're going to continue to lie to you just about all these statistics. And when we bring up new statistics,
20
seconds.
seconds.
For some reason, they're wrong. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Admiral Gibbs. Moving back to Paradigm.
That's a fine speech, kid.
Yeah, it's all right, little bro. Try to beat it.
You're still doing your intros.
Easy. My intro is 10 seconds long. Money is fake. That's my answer.
Okay, very nicely done. I'm glad that was very worth the wait. Folks, we are moving into the first open panel. Once again, don't forget, does the latest jobs report indicate a strong economic recovery? Does the latest jobs report indicate a strong economic recovery? This topic's going to take us through the next 40 minutes. Folks, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Gibbs, are you aware that the methodology?
Jesus Christ, that is wild. You can really tell like who's on one side of the fucking aisle and who's on the other, considering that what Gibbs just did is essentially take copy repeat of Trump's fucking tactics. Don't answer the question, obfuscate, talk about anything remotely, nothing to do with the topic at hand. Did he even mention employment or unemployment? No, he mentioned immigration, he mentioned gas, he mentioned eggs, he mentioned anything but employment, because the reality is he doesn't want to engage with it.
Can I tag along with that statement? I'm sorry to interrupt because I know you want to respond, but I'd like to tag along with that statement. That's why it was kind of easy for me to just say money is fake, because you brought up a bunch of things in which I can sit here and discuss them, but you talk about real world events. It's like, okay, it is very easy for a lot of jobs to split themselves apart by work from home, hybrid, and on-site. Do they count those as different, or do they count them all as one job? They count them all as different. So like the jobs report is one thing, but I can take all three of those jobs if I wanted to. So you bringing up houses, nobody can afford.
Wait, you're proving my point. You realize that, right? Because my point, the jobs report doesn't count anybody who's working 2 jobs. I don't give a shit. Listen, he's wrong. So listen, he's over here sitting here going, he's sitting here saying this gobbledygook, which is crazy. Because guess what? The jobs report only takes into account people that work 2 jobs 40 hours a week. So they're not even taking into account people that have to work 20-hour jobs or 15-hour jobs or do the Biden gig economy. So you're just wrong. It's crazy.
Hey, Gibbs, the question was...
Gibbs, are you aware of the fact that the methodology for job revisions has not changed since 1979?
Cool, so maybe it should change, but you know the distance.
So where are you getting your
Okay, are you also aware of the fact that
I gave it to you if you had listened in my opening? I even sourced my sources. So yeah, you're wrong. You should have listened up.
Okay. Gibbs, are you aware that the job revision in 2006 was just as large, and the job revision in 2009 was even bigger than this recent job revision?
Holy shit.
Those are good times in the economy. Is that what you think?
Well, I'm just saying that the job revisions were just as big. Not necessarily as those are good times, but
so
you would admit, you would admit that after we were touted about how good jobs were in July, if things came back 3 months later, so we should find out about this report in 3 months whether it's accurate. If you would agree that if somebody came back with 800,000 jobs short, that would be a failure as a jobs report, correct?
What evidence?
Not necessarily. The BLS is like the epitome of transparency. Do you understand how the job revisions are? It's not a lie. Do you understand how the jobs numbers are calculated?
I understand.
Gibbs, how many times are the jobs numbers revised?
It doesn't matter. What's the job number now?
They've
also, one quick thing. Are you also aware of the fact?
You want to talk about all the revisions? I'm talking about the cold hard facts here.
That's great. Okay. I don't think you understand how the job number revision.
People use source checks. Yeah.
That's great.
Where are you getting the numbers from? How do you know if it's good or bad if you don't even have a fucking source?
I have the sources. I've already listed them in my opening.
What is your numbers?
Your monsters, it's 35% to 40% multiple jobs.
In the room with us right now?
I mean, I don't know. Did they touch you somewhere? I don't know. That's because it seems like the facts
it's a concept. It's a concept of sources.
Hold on. Gibbs, you have a good point.
Hey, boss, I do have a talk.
Go ahead, man.
Gibbs is I don't know where the fuck his thoughts are right now. He's acting as though he could just make this shit up, or that the government would just be inclined to whole cloth lie to the American people when
Because they
the
wouldn't do
American
that.
people would ultimately. Okay, it seems like
Magic.
that's what you're trying to say. But if you
That is
want to
exactly what he said.
yeah, I know.
Magic.
If you want to start digging into the numbers and start talking about the serious problems that we have several millions of people who are unemployed and feel they're like dispossessed workers. They feel as though there are no jobs for them in the economy. If you want to start pointing at, I can't remember the exact number. What is it? Discouraged workers. There's 1.6 million.
Wait,
of them.
wait.
So
Real quick, what is the unemployment rate right now?
it's 4.1%.
Okay,
and that's
how much bigger do you think that gets when you include discouraged workers?
that's what
It gets 0.3% bigger. U4 unemployment, which
According to
includes
who?
which
Hold
includes
on,
discouraged
but I'm
workers, is
not-
at 4.4%.
The
So that's still a
hold
good
on.
number.
The
Like,
point, really quick, the point only was to point to Gibbs and say, hey, why don't you start pointing to actual shit like
I can point to
He
stats.
He doesn't need to.
right,
He
that's
doesn't
just,
need to.
what you're doing is
He
just
doesn't
doing
need to.
exactly what I said in my intro. You're pointing to like random unrelated
lying,
data
they're
sets to just prove the
scheming.
economy isn't
No,
perfect. I understand the economy isn't perfect. There is unemployment, but also like prime age employment is at like 80.9%. That's the highest it's been since
And homeless is
2001.
at a 15-year high.
Demographically-
Would you say that homeless being a 15-year high is a good economic indicator?
Hey,
How about
please, let me
Not at all. I don't think there should be homelessness in
Okay, let me
America. I
ask
don't
you
think
another-
homelessness is good.
Here's the problem.
Let me ask you
with-
another statistic. Let me ask you another
boss.
statistic.
Yeah.
Since you're
Here's
over
the-
here talking about statistics, I got
Yeah,
one more for you.
speaking of this,
Do you think
don't even know
26
what
million
statistics
people?
are.
Do
You have
you
no
think?
numbers.
Yeah, I do. I just gave them to you.
No,
Maybe
you
start
don't.
listening.
But
Clearly,
you
you're
still haven't engaged
listen
Oh
to
my
the
God, Gibbs, just what's the number? Don't even.
Here's another one. We have 26,600,697
Crime.
people on
Immigration?
food stamps.
What are we
12.4%
talking
of the American population is on EBT. Would you call that a good indicator of a strong economy under the Biden admin?
Are you still
Gibbs,
talking about
you'll notice
anything
in my
but
intro,
employment?
you know what I said? I said you're going to resort to other
Anything.
data sets that merely prove the economy isn't perfect. I don't think the economy is perfect. To be
Well,
clear,
actually,
I think the
Nonfon, you
jobs
don't have
report is a
Not a
good
single
sign.
person here thinks that. Yeah, correct.
Gibbs,
Nonfon.
why don't
Actually,
you talk
Nonfon,
about the
you
fact
actually-
where these jobs
actually,
are coming
Nonfon.
from?
Gibbs is temp muted.
Forget it,
Service,
but I do it.
drinking places,
Hey, Don.
government, social assistance. These are where these jobs are being created. I don't know if these are necessarily the areas that we're looking for booming job growth. There's something you could talk
Actually,
about.
to further expand on that point where you were just saying, forgive me for my rude interruption, but Nonfon and Boss, you guys are correct that there's nothing statistically
course I am.
wrong with the methodology. But the problem is that if you actually look at the report, the
did.
problem with this jobs report that makes it suspect is that if you look at the composition of the job growth, you find that they added 785,000 government jobs from August to September. And that's the highest amount added since after
Wait, is that
COVID.
Wait,
is that
what?
And that
seasonally
spike is
adjusted?
obviously-
Is that seasonally adjusted?
So
Is that seasonally
yes, it
adjusted?
is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is seasonally adjusted. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And because it's seasonally adjusted, it still is a bit suspect because what happened between August and September that would cause you to hire that many government employees?
Teachers go on
Because
payrolls.
one of the concerns about the because one of the that's again the seasonally adjusted. It's not just because of that. More was added, even if you take the seasonal adjustments into account. In fact, that figure reflects the seasonal adjustments. So that argument, I'm afraid, does not hold
Yeah,
water.
what's your point? Yeah.
But the problem is, my point is that without those government jobs, the unemployment rate would have been 4.5% now, which would have been an increase, not a decrease. So if you look at what they've done, the composition of the job growth, it's part-time jobs and government jobs.
So
and
some jobs
an
good,
unusual
not-
amount of government jobs was added in 1 month. Well, no, because if you look at it, the private sector itself only had about 133,000, which reflects a relatively sluggish growth. So it does
they
make it look
even
better than it
state
does.
that
And there was no compelling need for that kind of stimulus at that time.
You realize
Okay, I mean,
So what was
like,
the need for that?
about
typically-
employment or unemployment, and you want to focus in
And
on what type
furthermore-
of employment. You understand?
Wait.
we're
Can
talking
I
about
just
the
like
general
real
concept
quick? If we
before
just
we
go,
dive
if
into
we
the
just go to
Furthermore-
Fred, the Fred data shows
Furthermore-
that like government jobs are pretty low right now, and they've been on a decades-long downward trend. On top of that, the share of the prime age employment, the prime age employment in the private sector is at 69.5%, which is like in only the private sector, which is like essentially the highest it's been in U.S. history. It's the highest it's been since.
You know, it's real funny.
before
It's real
2000.
funny.
That's
Hold on.
besides the point, because you look at the other indicators, such as the Federal Reserve's Beige Book, which is an anecdotal accounting of the facts. They report, they go to all their districts, they survey economists in their areas, they service some business organizations. If you actually look at the Beige Book, for example, every single district, actually, no, the majority of districts have reported either stagnation or decreased growth. So the reason why the fact that it's government jobs is consequent. So the reason why
they don't want to look at that.
the fact that it's
Wait, real
government
quick,
jobs
if that was
growth.
like,
The only one not looking at it is you, Gibbs.
what do you mean? What do you mean? Like,
It's funny you say that.
The reason why it's
I don't know.
I clearly don't read, but yeah.
At least let the fucking kid talk. Or whatever.
Gibbs is like-
The other guy.
Wait, can you specify what the districts are? I just don't know.
Maddie, what was your issue with my use of the beige book?
No, I just felt like I'm looking at a beige book right now. But continue, please. I'm fascinated.
Well, that's a good one.
With all due respect, that wasn't terribly funny, but it's all
Thank you
right.
so much.
I will perhaps
you
laugh
so
later.
much.
Anyway,
Random young white
So-
man.
Okay, I gotta weigh in. That was
So anyway,
unfunny
the
as shit.
reason-
I have to weigh in.
Anyway, boss, I wish to
The ref is gonna say, Maddie, you're really not showing up for this one. The dancing's not funny, and neither are your jokes. Get in there, kid.
Yeah.
Come on, you're showing up weak.
You want me to add to the screen?
Don't you have a degree in economics, Maddie? Shouldn't you be fucking schooling us? Get out a fucking whiteboard right now. You
I'm
have this
sorry.
degree
It's
in
been a
economics.
constant stream of this whole time.
Okay,
So I
here's
would
your
love
time.
to.
Get the
here's
whiteboard
well,
thing,
that's
I
just the
would-
nature of it, unfortunately.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses, but I'm not hearing a lot of responses, Maddie. Come on, get in there. Defend yourself at all times.
You don't want to keep talking
Here's the
about
problem.
that. What? Hold on. No, you know what? Yeah, you're done. You know what's funny? is you'll keep sitting here talking about.
Done. You still haven't talked
Listen,
yet.
no, you know what's really
anything.
funny is you keep saying that, and y'all keep wanting to refer back to this one job.
You haven't talked
hold
about
on,
employment yet.
I'm talking.
This is just
Listen,
about Trump.
listen. I'll scrutiny here. I'm sorry, I butchered your name, Papa. But listen, he's brought up the beige book. He's brought other stats up. I brought up other economic indicators. You know why y'all keep harping
What
back to this one
economic
job?
indicators?
Listen, you would listen that you would know, but you're sitting here so
Monster.com,
ready to.
guy.
And I brought up the 15-year high of homelessness, the EBT, the housing rates. We got inflation is at 21% increase cumulatively since whatever. I will get to that if you would stop talking. But what's interesting, y'all keep wanting to come back to this.
You
Well, hold on. You keep going. No, I'm not rambling. I'm getting stats. What's
just
crazy?
ramble.
Listen, you keep interrupting me. Listen, here's what's crazy. I've given a bunch of stats, and you only want to focus on this one stat because it's the only stat that you have that can prove that the Biden administration
That's where we need to
is
start.
an abstract
Do you not know how logic
failure
works?
when it comes
Do
to
you
the
have a
economy.
problem?
I do. Yeah, I do know how
Hold
logic
on,
works.
yeah.
It's called we use evidence and we come to a conclusion. The
Gibbs, I'm
evidence says the
pulling ya.
job that is bad.
All right, move on. Next,
Oh my God.
next segment. Come
Can
on.
I respond? Can I respond?
Okay, wait. Gibbs, I just
Okay,
the reason I keep
hold on,
harping on a
hold
jobs report is one, because I don't think you really understand how it works, and two,
He
the topic
doesn't
we came here to
understand
debate is
anything. I don't
literally
know where
the
this guy
jobs
gets
report.
away with talking
like-
about anything.
Well, boss,
like,
you
cited-
guys still haven't addressed the problem.
Your
problem
problem?
is that?
Fine.
Is that
The other
the
guy's been
problem with
yapping
it,
the whole time about
boss,
talking about random shit.
Is the government also has a vested interest in the economy not crashing. So the
no
suggestion
shit, Sherlock.
is,
Thank God
that
we have you
because-
here. Yeah. Huh?
yes. So,
Yeah.
but the problem with creating that many more government jobs is one that has that increases our deficit, and two, and over the long term,
Okay.
the
When
private
you
sector
are-
is what supports the public sector.
Okay. When
So
you are
if
being
the private
asked,
sector is not expanding,
when you are being asked if this will result in a positive outcome for the economy, and we're looking at employment, and your focus is on the government hiring people instead of other sectors of the economy, then you need to ask yourself, are we going to have more progress out of employing within the government or within other sectors? And you have failed to elaborate or point to why hiring people in the government will result in less progress or less positive outcomes within the economy. That is where you're
Well, sure,
you're just
yes.
saying, oh,
Well,
we're
sure, yes.
hiring
For
within
example,
the
one
government
study
equals
found that
bad.
the increase in
Because the
government.
government is bad.
Well, one,
Is government
no,
good?
that isn't why. It's because of the fact that government jobs are
But you haven't
supported by the
pointed to
taxes
anything
on the
else.
private sector. And so if the government, if the public sector grows faster than the private sector, then eventually you're going to see more stagnation economically, because you do realize that those government jobs are financed.
Government jobs again are a
No,
smaller
not
percentage of
necessarily.
payrolls than they were in
Jesus
2019. Government jobs are smaller where they were in 2019, and the ADP,
towards the past. Unfortunately, with this jobs report, the number is a very large section of that jobs report, so it's counter to what you're actually saying here, dude.
Okay, wait.
Yeah,
I'm about to
why
say
did they
two
make such a
stats,
big
which
point
are
of
right
it,
now. Okay, the
Nonfon?
ADP is a private agency which tracks private sector jobs, and they estimate that private sector growth was 143,000, which is still above expectations in September. So
Yeah, like literally, you came into the entire conversation saying, "Oh yeah, they were above the average, but that's still not good." Bro, that is better than what we expected, and that is an indication that we are recovering and making
Because
better
it wasn't
progress into the future.
But I don't.
because it wasn't sustainable. There's a
there.
reason why it doesn't grow that much in 1 year.
Yeah, but listen,
There's a reason why they don't.
Hold on, we have evidence though, and we have evidence. We want to talk about. Hold on, I can tell you if you. Would you let me talk? All right, Papa. Here's the thing. We have evidence that the Biden administration has overcounted jobs every single month this year.
90% margin of error. Do you know what that means?
Gibbs, why was the BLS traded? Gibbs, why was the BLS traded? Gibbs, why was the BLS traded? Gibbs, why was the
Every
BLS
single
traded?
month. That means they're lying to you.
Do you know
Gibbs,
what a
why was the BLS
90%
traded?
margin? Sorry, go ahead.
Gibbs, why was the BLS created?
Listen, I don't care why the BLS is created. I'm here to talk about facts.
BLS was created.
Why did you even ask him that question?
Between unions and,
Why did you think asking him that question was going to?
I don't give a shit about this.
I don't trust them. Oh, they're
I'm
not
sure it
real.
is a layup. Maybe for you, you can take the layup. I don't give a shit. He wants to talk about non-important things that don't matter. The reason why he doesn't want me talking about the reason why he doesn't want me listen. The reason why
Gibbs, I gotta pull you. I gotta pull you, bud. I gotta pull you. You guys gotta stop asking Gibbs questions because then I have to unmute him so he can answer, and then he's just gonna say he doesn't give a shit. All right. Moving into tell me what is this? What does a 90% margin of error mean? And then you tell me what that means because you kept going into it. Say what that means, and then someone say something in response to that.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Huh?
What is the 90% error?
Basically, within data analytics, or when you're doing data analytics, in order to understand the discrepancy of how far can we fall outside of the bounds before we understand that in the event that we make a mistake, how far can that extend to? And I already said in my opening statement that the line, the minimum, meaning even if Gibbs, Alacrity, and all of these people are right, and they're conspiring, and the shadow cabal is coming after, and they're concealing information and all of this shit, and it comes out that it's actually the worst of that, the lowest it can be is 120,000. So even if that's the case, that is where the prediction was. That's already an indication that we were on track as estimated and calculated and achieving the progress that we were calculating.
Alacrity, respond to this.
I'd like to respond once I've finished.
Yeah, I haven't taken issue
never
with
mind.
the
Bald guy,
methodology of
respond
the
to this. I'm
report,
sorry.
But the problem is that even with that prediction, the actual employment growth was 133,000, by the way, not 143,000. So I actually don't really have a problem with what he's saying there. But if you look at the other indicators, such as that beige book that I mentioned earlier, if you and I'll
all right, Turk, take over. He's getting cut out.
Okay, this sounds better.
If you look at the survey
than
that the
what
Federal
he's
Reserve undertook of their different districts, what they actually said was, oh, sorry, 1 second.
Can we go back to you lagging? That sounded a lot better.
It isn't loading. You can go back to somebody else.
Okay, Turk. Yeah, you said you wanted to take that. Go ahead, Turk. Take it away.
Maybe the universe is like.
I wanted to push back on Boss because he was saying that the lower end of the estimate was like 140,000 or whatever.
120,000.
And that's why I wanted to find the actual stat before I go and push back. I want to say the expected job growth year over year was supposed to be like 200 something thousand.
When
for this past jobs report,
what were they predicting?
Median estimate was 140,000.
That's why I'm trying to find you the data, Boss. You don't have to be aggressive at this here, dude.
I'm not being aggressive, but you're challenging.
You keep saying win.
You're the one challenging.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get the data.
I am very chilled, my guy.
He's asking you a question.
No, he's saying that I said something or he's attacking it, but
no, I said I wanted to push back. Give me a little bit more credit here, dude.
I want to push back and then I fucking say something about it and you have an issue with it. Just go on with it, my guy. Say what you need to say.
I'll find it. Give me a minute.
So you haven't found it, but you want to challenge me. Amazing.
All right.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. First of all, I mean, I know what the median estimate for the jobs report in September was 140,000. Second of all, Gibbs, okay, well, he's finding that the reason the BLS was created was because there were disputes between unions and companies over how much inflation was going up. The BLS was specifically created as a compromise, as an independent statistical agency free from political interference, and it has surprisingly, withstood attempts from Nixon and from Southern Democrats to remain politically independent. When the BLS did a report on child labor, it found that it was way worse in the South, and the Southern Democrats hired a law firm to investigate the BLS, and they found no evidence of wrongdoing. Nixon tried to fire all the Jews from the BLS because he didn't like the way the numbers were going.
This
the BLS is an independent statistical agency. Gibbs, do you think if the central bank was using fake numbers, do you think it's plausible the U.S. would have such a strong economy?
Shout out Kamal.
Let me answer this, and before I get interrupted by homie down here saying I don't have any stats. Now, as far as what you're saying, I don't know whether or not the central bank or the BLS is independent or whatever. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on the BLS in that regard. However, However, I've given the reason why the debate topic is, hey, do we think this jobs report is an indicator of a good economy going forward? Basically, right? I'm gonna sit here looking at all the other stats, saying no, absolutely not. Like if I go over here and I look, and we have 12% of Americans on EBT. We have a 15-year high on homelessness, and it's actually the first backslide on homelessness with an increase of 7%. We have a cumulative inflation rate from 2020 of 21% or 20.5%. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. The economy's in the dog shitter. And whenever they say, hey, we only include people that have 40-hour work weeks for 2 different jobs in the little jobs report, I'm sorry. I know multiple people, and Monster did a study. Like I said, I know y'all don't want to accept Monster for whatever reason, but Monster is a job-seeking website saying that, hey, we're sitting here looking at multiple people having multiple jobs.
If you want to make yourself heard, this is your last 5 minutes of the topic before we begin the ending statement.
We can set up a conversation. I can address all of that, Gibbs. I just want to do immigration with you first because apparently I'm not going to be able to run through all the bullshit you just said.
Yeah, we didn't bring up immigration, but sure, yeah, this time.
Great. Okay, great. Immigration. Are you aware that the current population survey is likely underestimating native-born employment because it fails to account for unexpected changes in migration?
Like the hurricanes? Is that what you're trying to say? Like the migration?
No, because of the surge in migration over the southern, because of the Biden-Harris surge in immigration over the southern border. Right now, it doesn't matter if Biden caused it. I could accept if Biden caused it because of the Biden importing voters.
Weather weapons.
The current population survey fails to account for unexpected changes in population, which causes it to underestimate native-born employment. So when you account for that, the gap between native-born employment and foreign-born employment shrinks.
Wait, do you think that illegal immigration is actually helping jobs here in America, like for native-born employees? That
yes,
we're trying to argue?
And the evidence supports that, but that doesn't answer the question I asked you right now. I'm just asking you, do you accept that the current population survey is going to underestimate native-born employment if there's an unexpected surge in migration?
No, I'm not going to accept that because this is the stupidest argument I've ever fucking heard.
So here's the problem, right?
Okay, well, I don't think you understand how the current population survey. Wait. Okay, first of all, the second thing I'm going to mention are the working-born population is shrinking, whereas the foreign-born population is increasing. The working-age population, a lot of boomers retired early during COVID, and in general, that's great. In general, the U.S.-born working-age population is shrinking, so we shouldn't expect employment to go up for native-born citizens. But if you account for this by looking at either the demographically adjusted prime employment rate, which accounts for the changes in the composition of women and men.
Hold on just a second, Nonfon. Somebody put a graph up here, and I need my grandpa glasses to see what the fuck it says.
Or if you just look at raw prime age employment, it's also like at a 20-year high.
That still doesn't address any of the other economic indicators I listed, like homelessness, housing.
That's great. I know. Yes, great. That's great. I know. I'm addressing these ones right now. I'm just saying the point that like immigrants is taking
3 minutes, by the way. 3 minutes.
For those 2 reasons. The third reason, I do believe legal immigration is helping the economy. The data supports this. There was a secure communities program that deported workers in some communities before they deported workers in other communities. So what economists did is they look at the community that deported all the illegal migrants compared to the communities that didn't deport illegal migrants. And what they found is that when you deport 500,000 immigrants, native-born working population actually goes down by 44,000 because immigrants work in caregiving jobs, which allows young mothers to work. Immigrants have their own demand, so they have demands for products. Some immigrants even start businesses. Yeah, there are multiple mechanisms by which immigrants actually increase native-born employment. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's logical, non-fun. The problem is that Gibbs doesn't engage with that type of information or data. The reality is, though, he has a problem with the jobs report.
We didn't address any of the rest of my stuff.
I understand I didn't address any of the rest of your things. I wasn't trying to. If you want me to, I can right now, okay? I think there are other metrics that you can look at that shows the economy is doing a lot better. Labor productivity is like higher than any other economic recovery right now.
Yeah,
Again, the prime age employment rate is doing really well.
Homelessness. EBT,
Are we gonna have outros?
I understand the economy is not perfect.
Yeah.
Also, I will say the increase in homelessness and poverty you probably see is because during 2020 we did a lot of stimulus. We did like the expanded child tax credit. For example, child poverty increased a lot, but that's because we did the expanded child tax credit in 2021, and then we ended that, and now all those children who are getting money are back in poverty because they're not getting any fucking money. Okay, so that's probably why you see increases in poverty relative to 2020 when we were doing a shit ton of stimulus.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, the reality.
I think that actually, you know what? Fuck the last 2 minutes. I think it's time to get into outros. Okay, folks. One last time. This topic was: does the latest jobs report indicate a strong economic recovery? We are going to go through the same run through as the beginning. I gotta say, we're divided right now between people that are talking and fucking screensavers. So, in the second half of the show, if some people could try to jump in there and have a fucking conversation or two, just yell into the microphone, if anything else, okay? But I will say to the guy that is turning into a Google Doc, I cannot read that, and neither can anyone the fuck else. It is not accomplishing anything, and it's at best irritating, and at worst, it's really not showing off your
I'm
skills.
sorry that data kind of.
It is a small image on a large screen.
What did I cite that wasn't data?
Okay, moving on. Folks, we're going to go into the final statements. You have 2 minutes on the clock. We are going to boss first. Folks, boss, you got 2 minutes.
Okay,
Take it
so
away.
the reality is, all right, so the reality is, once again, whenever you hear arguments from Alacrity, it was the government is actually getting all the jobs, therefore not actually a good indicator for why that is making progress, even though he failed to indicate or point to a single point of reference to show that this would be a negative for the economy or not a positive in the other light. Gibbs, don't even get me started. Jesus Christ, for the love of God, I have a problem with the jobs report. I don't trust it. Shadow Cabal, Deep State, Swamp. But then he also trusts other data from other, God knows where, Monster. I'm baffled. I'm lost at this point. The reality is, though, if you're listening to any of these people, they won't trust certain data, but when it confirms their inner biases or to engage in confirmation bias, then they are totally and utterly fine with it, unless they want to come up with concepts of fucking data. Brilliant. The Google Doc guy. God knows what. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea else. So that's pretty much it. Biden based. Let's fucking go. Kamala 2024.
Thank you. Moving on to the incredible vertical boy, Alacrity.
Well, what I did state, boss, is that it was unsustainable because the 785,000 increase in government jobs, which when the private sector is not increasing as fast over time, that is not sustainable. So my position is more that it was not positive, especially if you look at the other indicators, which both you and Nonfon failed to address. For example, if you read the Federal Reserve's compilation of all of their districts' economic activity, spending on goods and services, including travel and vehicles and other such as that. And in Atlantic, economic activity in the 6th district declined slightly. Chicago, economic activity increased slightly. Employment, business spending rose slightly. Manufacturing. So that was one of the few good ones. Then St. Louis, economic activity has remained unchanged. Minneapolis, district economic activity fell slightly. Kansas City, economic activity in the 10th district remained stable. Dallas, the 11th district expanded moderately over the reporting period. Employment was stable and wage growth remained moderate. But San Francisco, economic activity remained stable. So you either have them remaining stable, maybe one or two increased slightly, but the rest slightly declined regarding economic activity. So if you just want to look at that one metric of 785,000 jobs added, sure, I'll give you that. Sure, the government could do it now, and it won't really have necessarily any negative effects in the present. But if you look at the general health of the economy, the private sector is either stagnating or growing slightly, and it's being overtaken by the government, which is financed by taxes and deficit spending, which ultimately is not sustainable for our growth. So no, the statistics do not reflect a recovery. Like I said at the beginning, at best, it reflects
20 seconds.
A mediocre performance. At worst, it reflects a decline.
Okay, moving on. Bisexual lighting, writing for Biden, Nonfon, take it away.
Yeah, I think most of the people basically did exactly what I said in my intro, that they resort to other random data sites. It's wild to me that we don't trust the BLS, which is designed as a politically independent agency that has withstood multiple political tests, but we do trust monster.com. When I go to their website, I don't even see their methodology listed here, where the BLS publicly post like all their data, their exact methodology. It's like the epitome of data transparency, and they revise their numbers and admit when they got it wrong on a regular schedule too. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like government jobs overall have been trending downwards. Maybe this one job report had a lot of government jobs. I mean, I would assume some of that's going to be teachers, although I guess he says seasonally adjusted. But like I don't know. It's just like all the metrics I look at show the economy doing pretty well, and even private sector employment is at like all-time highs for prime age. And again, the private sector employment, according to a private agency separate from the BLS, is higher than expectations as well, and that's only private employment. But anyway.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to live from his kitchen, it's Half-Baked Takes.
Small houses, that's what you do. All right, the American economy is doing better than any other economy in the world. That's awesome. I don't know if we're hitting full stride yet. We're probably not. But there are plenty of indicators to show that we're moving that way. And trust institutions, guys. Trust institutions. Might I stress that?
Okay, moving on to the latest TikTok sensation, Maddie.
Oh, new. I hope so. Yeah, so it feels good to talk. The screaming match was really enjoyable. Thank you. And I think what I was hoping to get in, but didn't really get a chance to because we were getting into nitty gritty that we really didn't need to get into, was that the job report is a good economic indicator. It's one metric. I think one thing I was hoping to say, didn't get a chance to, was that I do agree with Turk's intro a little bit in that it's showing movement in the right direction, but that's also not to say that the economy is amazing and, you know, there's nothing that can be criticized, because of course, like, rents are still, the cost of living is still insanely high. I live in San Francisco. We have a massive housing shortage crisis. And there are a lot of things that still need to be addressed. However, most economic indicators right now, whether it's the stock market being at a historical high, whether it's our overall GDP output numbers, whether it's these ongoing job reports, all economic indicators are pointing to a robust recovery, but there's still a lot to do. And there's a lot of fiscal policies and also policies on the monetary side that could add to
30 seconds
ongoing growth. Yeah. And also, I would hope that if you care about honesty in the reporting from a presidential administration, you would maybe, take an honest look at the bullshit your preferred.
15 seconds.
So I'm going to use these 15 seconds to say that I'm right. And I'm not sorry about it. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Paradigm, the living mute button.
Quite literally. Yo, yes, I'm the boss. Can I ask you a question? You don't have to respond to it. It's not a snarky question either. A lot of people ask snarky questions here. When you came into this today, and you came obviously as prepared as you were, did you think that all of that would just get ignored by the volume of other people yelling? I don't really need the answer because I can already see by the smile on your face that the answer is, of course. I'm going to say this one more time because I feel like nobody engaged with it. Money is fake. Jobs are not real. And I feel like when I say that, you look at all these stats and figures and statistics, but you don't really have a frame of reference for why you even want to quote these things. You just want to get one over on other people. Well, I'm going to get one over on all of y'all. No matter how you view jobs and how you view these job reports, most places aren't making a living wage. So even more access to jobs, even though companies post fake shit all the time, doesn't mean that things are going well. But at the same time, the fact that there's more opportunity out there, and we are noticing a lot of people having to pick up 2-3 jobs, but being able to pick up 2-3 jobs means that we should focus less on the jobs report and how to up the minimum wage so more people can get better work and the labor market can move a little bit more fluidly. Admiral Gibbs, aircraft Sparky routine is so 2022. Todd, I don't know how you've been sitting with these conservatives for years and still haven't turned batshit crazy. There's always a space on the left for you, and as of course Maddie looking raving as over.
Love you so much.
Thank you very much, Paradigm. Hope to see you in the next segment, but, well, maybe we'll also hear you too. And finally, the Gish Gallopin' Stallion himself, Admiral Gibbs, taking it away at the end here. Oh, did I miss the turn? I'll get you out and get you last.
Dude. Yeah. Here we go.
Justice for
Go ahead. I already gave you the Gish Gallop thing. Just go.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Greek 1776 down here doesn't seem to understand basic economics and is holding on to this jobs report like it's a lifesaver and he's fleeing the Titanic. The Titanic is actually a good analogy for the current economy. People want to sit and pretend things are good when the ship is going down and they're running right into an iceberg. It's really impressive. Any person can go outside and see the economy's in the shitter. He's over here talking about jobs report. I brought up other statistics. He didn't want to talk about their statistics. He kept saying that whatever. So we'll just keep going down there. Once again, the BLS said only 3.8% of people are working multiple jobs. It's because they only factored in that people are working 2 40-hour-week jobs. But the reason I brought up Monster is because it's taking into the fact they're one of the biggest job hunting websites in the world. So, kind of, in their wheelhouse. They brought up the fact that 40% of people are working multiple jobs, not just the 3.8% that the BLS reported. Cumulative inflation is up 21% since Biden took over. Housing is having a crisis. 26 million, aka 12.7% of people on EBT, and homelessness is at a 15-year high. Guess what? The economy's in the shitter. This one jobs report doesn't indicate things are going any better. It's going to get revised in a couple months to be dog shit. And you know what? The Democrats here are happy to lie to you and pretend that they're good, just like they lied about crime, just like they lied about Biden's mental acuity and everything else. They're just lying to you. They're taking any little kernel of truth they can, expanding on it, and trying to pretend like it's good. And it's really pathetic. And that's why they want to interrupt and say, oh, I'm gish galloping, even though I'm bringing up other statistics that are relevant. And it's really that simple.
Gibbs, how many people do you think are working paycheck to paycheck?
No, crosstalk. Shut it or you're going to get muted. Ladies, moving on to the last speaker of the moment, live from Google Docs, TheTerk.
Yeah, so I first want to come out and apologize to Boss when I was wanting to press you and I wanted to find the data and you kept asking me questions. I found the data and it was in fact I was wrong. So I want to apologize and say, I'm sorry for wanting to push you. However, I'm going to pull up the Google Doc again because it's important and it owns all the
stop screen sharing. Stop it. It makes everybody move around.
Anyways,
God damn.
You don't even need to see the numbers. You see it.
No one can see it. That's why.
This is the opposite.
You're just showing me bars. I'm not even going to let you talk.
It is the opposite.
I'm not even going to let you. I'm talking over you the entire time. Turn your camera back on. Be an adult.
The entire reason why you guys aren't going to make it on the Hippy Dippy big stage is because y'all can't actually talk to data and actually present data, and the moderator.
The reason you're not going to make it is because you keep turning your screen into a graph. Stop giving people advice. Your time is up. Moving on to the second section, folks. I'll start muting you all. Don't make me start muting you all. You have no idea how loud I am. I am more powerful even than Gibbs. He doesn't even know yet, and I'll get you one day on. Folks, moving into the second section of the Hippy Dippy Recruitment Show. Fun topic, is candy corn good? Folks, we're not even going to go ahead 1-to-1 this time. Anybody, please pop in. Is candy corn good? Second question, is candy corn even a real goddamn candy?
No. It's
Take it away.
It's fucking hard plastic that they
It's
feed
America's
to
candy.
people who are brain dead. Get the
It's
fuck
America's
out of
candy.
here.
Do you hate America?
America's candy? You sound like a fucking communist. Yeah, absolutely.
You sound like, wow, that's strange thing to say about America.
I'm real sad that we're arguing about candy corn whenever circus peanuts go on fucking bitched about every year. Circus peanuts. You ever had those? Those things are dog shit.
Don't even.
Way worse
No,
than candy
come
corn.
on,
Why are
Gibbs.
we
Come on, Gibbs.
Ever eat
Come
one
on,
more
bro.
circus peanut in my entire life?
Circus peanuts, bro. They're not bad.
Yeah.
Bro, they They taste like refried dick.
I know, they do. I agree, but they serve a purpose. When you are in the circus and you've got you need something to do.
We're not
so
talking about circus peanuts.
Yeah,
We're talking about that bullshit candy in the
Yeah, but Gibbs took us on a tangent. He's very good at this. He's very good at taking us on a tangent.
You just brought up circus peanuts.
You guys getting fucking absolutely judo flipped.
Am I losing my mind?
Okay, so understand what an analogy is. Let the guy cook and then knock him down because he's being an idiot.
Yeah, Candy Crush. Wait, what are we talking? Candy corn? What is this? An American
candy corn
thing?
or wrong?
Okay,
I don't want to be.
Candy corn is plastic chalk that's been shaped into a little triangle cone thing.
I'm sorry.
Candy corn margarita last night. It was amazing.
Candy corn is wax with sugar in it.
Geometric shape.
This is what he's passionate about. This is what the mod is passionate about. He's passionate about the candy corn.
Also, all candy corn was made.
You think we mentioned candy? Fucking Gibbs wasn't about to pop in here ready to fucking shoot from the hip.
I love candy corn. I don't care.
I think Gibbs got that statistic from Monster.com.
Gibbs heard candy, got fucking stoked to start talking about Swedish fish and shit. He moved on to circus peanuts instantaneously. He's like, actually, I got fucking I got beef here. I didn't even realize.
I do. They're disgusting, bro. Like candy corn. Listen, I had a candy corn margarita. They're good. You can melt candy corn down, turn it into other things.
Who the fuck? Why is this man smelting the candy corn? What the fuck?
Are refried ass, and when nobody talks about them, there's a
This
conspiracy.
man went
right
Deep
there.
Rock
That's the
Galactic on fucking candy corn.
Bro, we live in America. Everything we eat is refried ass.
Right, everything gotta be refried. Like, are you okay, bro?
I live in Texas. I live near the border. Everything's refried. It's all amazing.
Dude,
yeah.
Refried candy corn.
Fair where they actually do the deep fried candy corn, and that's
pretty
delicious.
good. It's pretty good.
Gibbs knows where you can get popped candy corn.
Gibbs, I want to ask you a question. You got at least one chicken nugget in your
I'll let you guys rock and roll for a second. This is a good time to take a restroom break before the last segment.
Yeah, you know what's funny is
right out the pocket.
you making the same joke. You're talking about me not being original, talking about Aircraft Sparky. I don't even know the fact that is, but you're just over here reusing President Sunday's joke. So pipe down there, Pipsqueak. Like I don't want to hear these fucking rehash jokes.
Holy shit!
How
Haven't
do you
heard of
not
him
know
in a
who
while.
Aircraft Sparky is, dude?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I have a lot. If I touch grass, I drink. You know, I don't know.
But do it, guys. Do we have to?
He's a perfect example of how to not be
I
a
don't think I
terrible
have grass in
I
Texas
drink.
anymore.
I was gonna be like, what store did you go to to buy that shirt? Wait.
I think they're touching gravel or some shit. Yeah, it must be like touching desert. It's a different
Touching
concept.
wasteland.
Hey,
It doesn't
fuck
have the
you.
same
I love
effect.
it out here in the desert, baby.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cool.
Pretty
We
lame.
got clay. We got clay.
Kind
It's
of
cool.
like dead land.
There's
That's
some
kind of what
rattlesnakes,
happens.
bugs.
Cool.
Yeah, I know, but that's what happens when the land dies. It
Nobody's
becomes a
addressing.
desert.
So,
Yeah.
Nobody is
boss,
Candy
boss, are
corn?
you-
What? Candy corn? What?
Boss,
Guys,
are you
do we
overseas?
have...
It's great.
I
It's
am
great.
in
What else?
Russia.
It's
so-
refined
so
sugar
yeah.
pressed into
So it
the
would be the
strongest
best
candy
candy
actually
in Russia.
It
multicolored.
It would be the best candy in Russia.
We're talking
That
about
would-
candy corn now,
That's the only
though.
place to be a
Talk.
good candy.
Yeah, I
Maddie,
think
you
HalfBaked
said.
We have to
Takes
talk
has-
about the topic at hand.
Yeah, so
I think that the hate towards candy corn is so forced. Honestly,
Right?
like,
Thank you.
just
Bro.
forced.
Thank you.
Paradigm, come
Like,
on,
let's
dude.
be honest,
Because it's
though.
trendy and
Don't-
cute.
don't start-
It's like, no,
do
just
this-
make you
don't
like
do this
it.
to me,
It's
man.
okay. No one
Yeah,
will
I
judge
know,
you.
but considering like all the rest of your food that you have in America, it's not really that much of a bad thing, to be honest. But if I
That's
have
what
to
I'm
choose,
saying.
is it
Wait, what?
good
No,
or is it
American
you sound
candy.
British. Listen, beans on toast.
Wait,
I
don't you
want
live in the
that
fucking
opinion.
world of borscht? What the fuck? What kind of fucking food do you got up there other than beets and cabbage?
Overprocessed.
Don't even
It's
come at me, bro.
overprocessed. It
I'm
doesn't
I'm
taste
not
like
here
real
about your
sugar.
food takes.
Russia.
We got fucking Greeks in Cincinnati. I've had your pitas, okay? Calm the fuck down. We have all of the people from wherever the fuck y'all are from, and all the good ones came here and they cook their food better than they cook it wherever the fuck you're from.
Damn
Damn
right.
right.
Exactly.
Goddamn
Yeah,
right.
maybe debatable, but at the end of the day, like you can't talk to me about fucking baked beans on toast, bro. Souvlaki, all right? We have souvlaki, it's big pieces of meat, so we're not that far off from.
Yeah, it's called
Texans.
barbecue, dude.
Pieces of
Dude,
meat.
fucking Gibbs is from Texas. That's all they fucking eat is whole ass peas and shit.
The World Championships in barbecue
Motherfucker.
2 years in a row now. No big
Yeah,
deal.
I know you guys put a lot of effort into it. I'm not really one of those. I kind of
Let
like
them
salt and
celebrate
pepper
the
and just
one
let it
win.
do its thing. Yeah.
You're criticizing our cuisine, you motherfucker.
I rest my case.
She hits you with the salt and pepper, baby.
Like a kidney
wait,
corn
hold
glaze
up.
for it, and it's gonna be
Hold
amazing.
Nobody was talking about the quality or the taste of
outta
your
here.
food. Everybody was talking about the quality
we
of
need
it,
to
and
get
we're
back
talking
to
about
candy corn.
processed foods. Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, candy
That's
corn
a
in
personal
comparison.
decision. Guess
Candy
what?
corn
Yeah,
If
but
I wanna
processed
eat
foods, that's all
Kraft
you guys
mac and
eat.
cheese,
And it's
That's
like,
right.
y'all really
That's
not
how you
making
do it.
us
That's
look
like-
better because you're debating with him on the fact that, like, we all
Who did
know
we
that when you
lose?
go to their country, sadly, you come back and you feel better after you've
I
done
know.
gorged yourself. You
Or you
can't
get
come here
Montezuma's
without a
revenge.
stomach ache.
Hey, that's
Like,
neither
We're
here nor
not
there.
under the impression that our food is like the pinnacle of quality and health.
Have you been to
But
New Orleans? Have you been to
Listen,
Houston?
but listen.
Who's
but
we?
listen,
Yeah, who is the
candy
we
corn,
here?
it is processed. It may or may not contain real sugar, but you know what? If it isn't still
May or
fucking
may
tasty,
not.
and you don't see people taste it and want it all the time, and it's still a top seller, that's America. You know what?
Yeah,
We
I know.
may be a garbage dump, but we are a garbage dump that you love against your will.
You know, you
So,
should go into
I'm
marketing.
sorry.
I think you should
I love
ditch this whole
garbage. I love
economic thing that you're
America.
doing, and you should go into
Oh,
marketing.
she works for a
man.
campaign, she said. She's a
I literally
campaigner.
worked in marketing for Google.
Yeah,
the
stick to
shiny
marketing.
on
You're
the
not very
on the
good at
sea.
economics, Maddie. So
The
yeah,
shiny
I'm
cup on the sea.
I'm sorry.
Let's just
Try
say
to-
that,
you can
yeah.
fight it all you want, but it's futile.
Yeah, so again, guys, do we have to pick whether I say
you like
yes
it
or
more if
no
you
to
put it in
candy corn?
borscht?
Then I'm saying no, unfortunately.
Based.
But it can serve
Have you
a
tried dipping it in
purpose.
borscht?
You
What
can try
can-
dipping it in like fucking anything you want.
Or
I was going to
whatever
say
other
shit,
candy are
but
you gonna
that's not
put
really
in the
nice.
gloves to make the?
What if
like
I
the
melt it
hand?
down for like a barbecue glaze? For like you know, like it,
Like you
That
can,
sounds
Gibbs,
amazing.
but the problem is it's still not like yeah.
What?
it's
what are you
amazing
gonna-
is what it's gonna
That would
be.
What are you gonna
probably
replace
coat
the
your
candy corn
intestines
hand
in
with?
some fucking.
See, this is the minimum amount of participation I need from you all in the next topic, okay? I need you
How am I
fucking
gonna
in
build a
there.
gingerbread house with that candy corn?
Because it's something I feel like economy. Who cares?
People are
Candy
very
corn.
passionate about candy corn. I see.
Oh, you have no
I have
idea.
a degree
That's what I
in
can't
candy
do.
corn.
This was
actually,
my
so
suggested
listen.
topic, and Danabo
Yeah, I
was
got
like,
my
what is that? Some like American shit? I'm like, yeah, just watch this.
Yeah, true. Exactly. Can you guys survive without ever eating candy corn a single day in your life? Like that's
Yes.
a question
No,
you need
I
to be
Hey, look,
asking
if I
yourself.
eat one more circus
That's why
peanut, I'm
I'm
gonna fucking
saying
die.
no.
I'll tell you that.
I won't.
Years.
Reese's
the way
peanut
I'm
butter
looking
Not
at
a
it,
matter of can I.
Good.
if you say
I
yes
just
to
want to
candy
eat it
corn, then it
once.
means you're okay with eating it every single day for the rest
You know
of
what
your
else
life.
is really
If you say
terrible?
no-
Swedish fish. Why don't we get rid of them too? Candy corn's better than that too.
Oh, fucking
rid of
Gibbs is
Swedish
on the
fish.
fucking
Get rid of
Swedish fish,
licorice.
Maddie
bro.
said
Yeah.
it's American.
Oh, you are
candy.
on
Licorice.
fucking circus
I'm
peanuts. I
with
brought
you
up
on that.
Swedish
I
fish.
hate
Now he's
licorice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hate-
if I was
I hate
if I
licorice.
was to put candy on
You
like a
just hate,
tier
like,
list,
happy
right? Candy corn would definitely be on like the left side of F tier, but licorice should be
Yeah.
on the far right.
And
That
then
makes
sense.
we're fucking
Oh yeah, licorice
We're-
sucks.
Licorice is pretty bad.
nerds.
Like, if we're rating it
clusters. We're going those.
taste-wise,
We're going fucking.
All right.
Taste wise, culture.
5 more minutes in this topic.
Going-
Has everybody got a chance to go take a piss? Get yourself some fucking water,
I need to get candy
The water
corn.
to
some chippy chapstick.
wait,
my
can I
There
go?
you go.
See?
Yeah, I'll
I
go and
told you guys
finish
to
my
go do that a
cigarette. Be right
second
back.
I'll run this. I'll run this entire guy. Who else? Who else is here? I'll tell you
Is
right
this
now.
a Google Doc for you right here? Can you see this one?
I mean, yeah, that's a fucking JPEG.
Yeah, but it's candy corn. It's a
Did I
great
ask for a
diagram of
goddamn
how
JPEG
awesome it
I'm
is.
in the
Turk?
kitchen now. I didn't even have to leave screen.
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is?
It's a PNG.
Oh my god.
No, it's a JPEG. Yeah.
My love of candy corn, by the way, is not a put on. I have my like cute little Halloween plates that have candy corn. I have.
That's what I
this
mean.
little,
It's all
like,
an act. This is all an
miscellaneous-
act.
It's,
all
fucking
it's
act.
kind of past the
You don't
fucking
like
act when you're
candy
buying
corn. You
fucking
just like the
kidding.
aesthetic.
aesthetics.
You like the aesthetic. Don't lie.
I like both the aesthetic and the taste. I like.
There is no
Fine.
taste. It tastes like hard plastic.
It's
What the fuck?
sugar.
Yeah, it's
not-
you realize
no,
how much plastic
sugar
you
at
think
least
you
would be
consume?
good.
We're,
Sugar would
we're
be
like
fine.
half microplastics by now. You might as well.
Bro.
embrace it.
Yeah, my
Bro,
balls
it's
are
America.
completely filled with
Everything's-
microplastics. I know.
You
I'm
might
aware.
as well embrace
I'm not
your
adding
plastic
more by
future,
eating a
babe.
shitty candy.
I will eat it forever.
Don't know how candy
You
corn
and
is
my
this
85-year-old
terrible rap when
grandma.
there's so many worse
You
candies.
guys will be
Like,
keeping the industry alive.
It's why I take my dental health so seriously because I need it because I eat.
Yeah,
things like
you
candy
better.
corn.
Your dentist looks at you
Yeah,
every
and
single
that's
time
why I
and goes,
look at
please
you.
stop
Oh,
eating this
lady.
dog shit.
No, my dentist is like, thank God you flossed. I'm like, girl, I know.
It's like if you go into your real doctor and he's like,
All
"Oh,
right.
at least you don't have diabetes yet."
So
Like,
cute.
I don't know what the fuck.
These like when I have a Halloween party, I have these little plates for everyone. It's great. And I like, yeah, I'm not too proud.
This is
not too
perfect.
elitist. I'm a leftist coastal elite, but I'm not so elitist that I can't admit that I fucking love candy corn.
Which coast?
Yeah, that's some
And
Midwest
I
shit.
think Gibbs mentioned that he had like, what was that, candy corn martini or something. That sounds.
That's really good. That's
It was a margarita. It was great.
BB
I pop margarita afterwards. It was really good.
That fucking
Dude, okay.
that cocktail or crime.
I'll have to find the photos. They're pretty amazing.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's the corn as an agricultural product is arguably the most important
Why are you bringing up
agricultural
corn?
product
Don't
worldwide.
don't
And
start
the
equating
fact that
those
they
two.
could distill it down and turn it into something mass produced and barely resembling what it was inspired by,
This country was
and have
built
it
on the
still be
corn
like
stalk.
a top selling thing. That's American ingenuity.
Don't equate.
That's, if you're a fan of capitalism, it epitomizes the strength of American capitalism and
The
ingenuity.
entire state of Iowa
And, like,
hates you right
if you
now.
hate America, I'm really sorry. That's a bummer. But I love America. And that's why
you
I
should be
support.
you should be extradited for that take.
Right,
I'm
let's
just
go.
saying, like,
All right, we got Bosch back. We're waiting for the Turk, and then we're gonna pop this one
I'll
off.
go hang out in Russia.
Awesome.
yeah, just
Yeah.
it'll be the best candy. So you'll be at home.
I'll
It'll
go
be
to
awesome.
Russia. And I'll instead of candy corn, I'll eat, I don't know what you guys have there, like dirt.
Yeah,
Or
fucking
have
ice.
small
They eat
pebbles.
ice. That's all they eat.
You eat dirt, yeah.
All small pebbles.
They eat jerky. You guys eat jerky in America, don't you?
Fuck yeah,
What?
we eat
You have
jerky.
jerky? Don't you dare talk bad about jerky.
You want
No,
to fucking
I'm not.
call, buddy?
I'm a
I'll
big
fly.
meat eater. I like meat. I'm Greek. Don't forget. Yeah.
Yeah,
We Greeks
I was
love
just
our meat.
my husband and
Them
I just
dry
Not
went
that
to
eggs.
type
Greece,
chat.
this
Not
summer. It
that
was
type of meat
wonderful.
chat. What was that?
My husband and I went to Greece this summer. It was wonderful.
Oh
we
no,
loved it.
I'm not from Greece. I'm from Cyprus.
Oh, so
It's
you're
a little- it's a-
Greek.
He's a
But not-
Cypriot.
Greek.
I'm a Cypriot.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Cypriot. What the fuck is that, bro?
Isn't that what
Yeah,
you guys
not
are?
North Cyprus. I want to make sure I'm very clear
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
Yeah.
When
No,
did- when
I
this
also
guy
have
says he-
friends who are
Yeah.
from
Gang,
Greece.
gang, you know, North
Oh,
Cyprus.
okay, cool. Yeah.
Do they
this
have
guy
cypress
called
trees
the
on
Turk.
Cyprus?
What do they have?
Do they
What
have
you got?
cypress trees on Cyprus, or is it just trees?
They do have cypress trees. We call them trees. They also have palm trees and banana trees, apples, oranges, lemons.
going.
Yeah.
It's like a
Keep
lot
going.
of lot
Give
of
me all
fruit.
of
Got a lot of trees. So it's a
Yeah, Cyprus, they have a
Mediterranean
lot-
place. It's a very hot
Cyprus is-
place.
Very hot.
I heard Cyprus
Yeah, it's
fucking
very hot.
slaps.
Yeah.
I heard it's
I think
like the
similar
shit.
to Crete, the only thing holding
we got everybody
you guys back, because it is like decently lush soil, is it doesn't always get a ton of. I know
Put
at
it
least
back,
with
Paradigm.
Cyprus, or with
right the first time.
Crete, the problem is it doesn't always get a ton of rain.
Yeah, we
It's
have
really
problem
arid.
with rain. Yeah. yeah.
So
All right, we're
but
moving in,
otherwise,
folks.
They're like, yeah, literally, that's it.
Got the crosstalk, ladies and gentlemen. Are you all ready? Can you give me a real quick thumbs up? Aaron Yeager, I'm just going to
Thumbs
assume that
up.
you're on there.
Yep.
And of course, one of the screens is a little bit frozen, but we're going to go ahead and move into the third segment anyway. Those guys are a little further down on the list. We're going to try to keep the time going for everyone, folks. The third segment of this is going to be, should the U.S. prioritize military spending over social programs? Should the U.S. prioritize military spending over social programs? We're going to go through 2 minutes for everybody to give themselves an introduction. We have until 4:30 for this one. So we got plenty of time for you guys to yell at each other. We're going to be going ahead and taking it away with the boss. Boss, are you ready? You've got
I am ready.
2 minutes.
Let's go. Okay.
Pop off.
Okay, so basically, when it comes to military spending, a lot of people, I have to caveat it because at the end of the day, I don't want it to be misconstrued to the point where I'm talking about making America domestically or internally, like just investing in the military for the purpose of investing in the military, which is something that Trump will have you believe is a good idea. But I'm talking about providing aid to countries like Ukraine, to countries like Israel, for being able to go through and continue to defend themselves against aggressors. I think that being able to invest and provide aid to the military for those purposes, considering that is for military purposes. But if we're talking about just military spending for the fucking sake of it, no, obviously we want to prioritize social spending. So take it as you will. But yes, obviously when we're talking about social spending and social health care and things that help the people within the United States, I am very for it. But Again, you're going to have to be careful with that because when you increase the amount of power that the federal government has, you want to be able to mitigate it and essentially spread that power to all the corners of the country so you don't have a centralization of power, which will result in negative outcomes for the populace. So, yeah, there you go.
All right. Thank you, boss. Moving on to Alacrity. You have 2 minutes.
I am of the persuasion that we should prioritize military spending at least 5 years, roughly. Mainly because I actually agree with Boss and that we should further support Ukraine and Israel to end those conflicts much more quickly. But also because our social spending, that is our non-discretionary spending, is fairly inefficient. And so even if cut, we can still, that money can still better be used to improve not only our acquisition of new technologies in the military, but to fix our maintenance problems, particularly with our Navy. In fact, I believe one study found, a Dow report, I think, that 40% of our ships are not combat ready or they could not receive maintenance on time. Forgive me, my memory's a bit murky in that regard. But because of those factors, I believe that effectively, yes, we should prioritize military spending. That is only when looking at discretionary spending. At least, of course, it would be beyond the.
I didn't hear a word he said, really.
Yeah.
I think we should
I'm gonna go ahead and say thank you very much, Alacrity, for those statements. Moving on to Nonfon. You got 2 minutes.
It's a broad question. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I mean, I think it's important that the U.S. spend to maintain its military, to maintain the best military in the world by far, to protect both ourselves and global trade routes and our allies like Ukraine and Israel. Like, for example, there's headlines recently that we don't have enough missile interceptors to give enough to Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, so we probably have to spend more money there. And I think our social spending right now is pretty inefficient. It's divided into 20 different programs, all of which are means tested, all of which have high administrative cost, and we should probably switch over to more universal benefits is what I would like to see. So I guess in the short term, I would say, sure, prioritize military spending. I don't think we need to do a lot of reform on our welfare system, essentially.
Okay, thank you very much, Nonfon. Moving on to Half-Baked Takes.
Yeah, I don't know. We currently spend a vast portion of our federal budget on mandatory spending, which are social programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. These things end up, taking up large portions of the federal budget, and these are social programs. So you probably can make an argument for that has been the status quo for a long time. The military spending, I believe I was in the military for 4 years, so obviously I'm a little biased here, but I'm always going to encourage giving our boys the best equipment that we can. And obviously we have a large amount of unrest in the world right now. So increasing military spending to help bolster both our own arsenal and our allies' arsenal would be very important.
Okay, thank you very much, Half-Baked Takes. Moving on to Maddie.
Yeah. So I think here's the thing. I don't think we should decrease military spending or it's not worth it. I do think that a well-funded military is important to the safety and security of the United States. And I call the United States an empire because, let's be honest, it is. But I also am not under the impression that external threats, like military threats, are the biggest threat to the American empire succeeding and continuing on. And I look to history for why that is. Historically, empires haven't fallen because they lacked military might or because they funneled too many resources to bettering the lives of their people. The two main factors to pretty much every empire collapse is economic issues and social and cultural issues. This holds true with Rome, despite having an incredibly formidable military. The only reason that Germanic tribes were able to have them collapse is because the center of Rome was already weakened due to cultural decay, their once revered republic descending into an autocracy where there was rampant corruption, and they already had pretty widespread economic issues, which made everything else really difficult. In a more recent example is the USSR. They were a world power when it comes to military might.
30 seconds.
They were spending thank you, pretty comparatively to the United States in military might. And yet what actually took them down inevitably was not a lack of military might, but was instead a complete economic collapse. So when I think about what is going to actually bolster the strength of the United States, we should instead invest in our people, invest in our economy, and that will lead to our safety.
Thank you very much, Maddie. Moving on to TheTerk.
Yeah, so I could show another Google Doc. Is that what you want, Tyler?
I said don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay, so I echo a lot of what HalfBakedTakes said. A lot of our actual government funding goes towards social programs. So my question to the panel would be like, okay, if we were to deprioritize military spending, what other areas are you wanting to spend money? Do you want more in education, training, employment, and social services? Are you wanting more in transportation, community, and regional development? Because there's only so far you can spread that money, especially since we're already doing deficit spending. And actually, we're spending 13% of our federal government budget towards net interest. So it's like we've already spent money we don't have on things that we probably could start trimming back some. So it's like, all right, guys, where are we going to actually start to deprioritize and start spending the money appropriately? I'm of the opinion that we do need to maintain the military at its current funding levels. We got some really cool guns that are going out to our Army, the 101 Airborne's getting our new M7 rifle and the M250 machine gun. Those are going to help destroy body armor of the Ruskies as well as the Chinese. We need those just in case, of course, just in case. And then, of course, we need to also start, like what Alacrity was saying, we got to start beefing our Navy up, because once China goes and attacks Taiwan, we're going to want to be able to spread ourselves a little wider than we currently have, especially with what's going on in the Middle East. But again, I want to ask you softies on the panel, what other
15 seconds
programs do we need to fund better?
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to the paradigm.
Okay, 2 minutes, right? I'm gonna do this in maybe 45 seconds. BBC News reports to as of October 18th, no UK apology over slavery at Commonwealth Summit. Don't want to hear about nothing from the UK right now for the rest of it. For the rest of you warhawks out there today, old BBC footage I saved for this exact moment. An American soldier deployed to Mosquito in 1993 as a part of the UNO Somme occupation force literally said to the people there that the entire point of military intervention in other countries is to destabilize you and for regime change as towards our American empire. He literally then points towards the people who are doing the documentary and says, you guys should know that. You went to college. I didn't. So now, based on everything that I've heard, I could respond to everything, but I'm going to respond to it like this. There's a genocide in Gaza, Israel are bad people, and America is funding and guiding it. Should we focus more on social programs as opposed to military spending? We literally, money's not real. So like maybe we help people out instead of like more guns to kill more people. I feel like that's a pretty easy thing to go with, but I can tell that's already not. But like, again, I've already had people that are friends of mine who've died in Gaza. I've already had people, friends of mine who have died specifically to U.S. imperialism, including my grandfather. So like, yeah, government spending on military is next.
Thank you for saying something so controversial, yet so brave. Moving on to the final person in our lineup, Admiral Gibbs. You got 2 minutes. Take it away.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so we shouldn't spend one more red cent of my tax dollars on welfare programs or social programs. Every single penny should go to the U.S. military. You know why? Because America's chief export is war. American imperialism is based. We should be taking over countries, manifesting destiny in them. It'd be fantastic. You know, I'm tired of all this bullshit where we pretend that we're not over there. You know what? He's absolutely right. We are destabilizing those countries. You know why? Because it's better for Americans. And you know what America's got a duty to? Americans first. And I'm sick of pretending we don't. You know what my stock prices do every time we go to war? They go up, because guess what? I'm a good investor. I invest in military stocks because I know that's what the U.S. is good at, is whooping other countries' asses. And you know what? I hope we continue to do that, because guess what? As long as we're beating them over there, they're not going to beat us over here. You know, the HalfBakedTakes earlier said something when we were in the before we came on. He said it's amazing what people can get used to when they have to. You know what? I think we should echo that sentiment here. We should take back a lot of these EBT and these welfare programs. These people should get used to suffering, and maybe they'll go and get some fucking jobs, and they'll go work, and then the Biden economy reports will be good, and that'll be actually accurate. And that'll be fantastic, because I'm sick and tired of my tax dollars going to support all these people that, don't want to work, or, they're illegal transgender aliens that Kamala wants us to, like, switch over and pay, my tax dollars pay for. It's ridiculous. My tax dollars shouldn't pay for any of this, but I'm totally okay with my tax dollars paying for Javelin missiles for the Ukraine, totally okay with my tax dollars paying for the nukes, totally okay with my tax dollars paying for all the new cool toys that our American soldiers have to use. And that's wonderful. American imperialism, bring it back.
Okay, folks, you heard it here. American imperialism, bring it back. This is our last topic of the day.
Invading first.
Oh, never mind. You guys, you want to hop to it? You go ahead, hop to it. But just one more reminder: should the U.S. prioritize military spending over social programs? Is the topic. Take it away, guys.
So Gibbs, tell me one thing. I don't understand.
Let's go with Haiti. It'll be better for him.
Yeah, I have a feeling that you just contradicted yourself, considering that you hold the position that America should kick ass and take names, but then also you want to stop and not a single cent of your red blood American tax dollars should go towards aiding Ukraine. Like, you're already kicking ass.
I didn't say that.
I just wanted to make sure that's why
He said to welfare.
Waiting for it too. Boss, I was
Hold on,
waiting
I
for it
didn't
too.
say that. First of all, I will separate from Trump on this one. I'm not a Trumper, so I'm a neocon.
Let's
I definitely,
fucking go.
Let's give the money to Ukraine, and hell, let's as long as they're buying American weapons, they're paying us back. Let's go. War is good for me. I don't know what y'all are doing.
One thing actually using data to make this one, I can tell.
So one thing I really like about the Ukraine thing is we're actually providing them some of our hand-me-down equipment so that we can go and replace it with these M7 and M250s.
We're getting money back on shit that we're reselling it twice, basically.
Pile, baby.
And send it
just
to
about
Israel
as based as that was Bunny. Yeah, the Bunny's pretty based, but yeah, definitely. So
I do want to talk about one thing. I think it's Turk in the bottom left, right?
Yeah.
I do. I think the military is important, obviously, but like the one thing that I would like to see social spending increase in is probably the child tax credit. I think like when we did the first child tax credit, child poverty fell by a lot. I think it fell to like 5.2% from like 12% or something. I think that's a pretty effective policy that I would like to see continue, if not expand even.
Yeah, I think both campaigns actually said they want more of the tax credit, more being what's debated right now. And I think that's a good thing. I would love to get more money for all the kids I have. Yeah.
So the problem is that we in the world today, like
the Republican Party right now is relatively populist. Like the MAGA movement is a populist movement, so they're going. A lot of them would lean into this like social spending if it's going to Americans.
Yeah, and I think the big debate here is actually like, where are we going to take the money from, or how are we going to raise the money to actually pay for it? Because we're already deficit spending every single year. So
they also want to cut taxes. So I don't know how they are going to do that.
Budget.
No, nobody knows how they're going to do it because it makes
I'd love to hear Maddie's economic mastery here.
Obviously,
I want to hear the answers.
Paradigm, you're the only one.
I mean, when you look at our
You want economic mastery?
Very bad opinions. I want to say I disagree with Paradigm on fucking money isn't real. Like, come on, bro.
Oh no,
Actually, Let me move. Let's move into that. Paradigm hasn't showed up. Paradigm. Oh, hold on. Paradigm versus Boss. Let's hear this. Let's hear this out. I want to hear this out. Paradigm versus Boss. Go ahead. Money isn't real. Explain yourself.
I literally asked Maddie a question directly.
Yeah, let them go first if they. But you're the moderator, so moderator calls it. So fuck the rest of you. Listen to me, Paradigm. What is the point? What is the point of being on a debate panel debating about these issues at hand? Considering that 8 people here.
Paradigm thinks that inflation isn't real. We should just print more
Paradigm
money.
can think whatever the fuck he wants. The reality
it's not
is
a tangible thing. It doesn't. It's not real. It's like whose line is it anyway?
Okay, well, I think he can answer for himself.
You're not even wrong.
Let him answer for himself, dude.
This is master in economics here.
The point is, why are you even talking?
Economics doesn't exist. There's no money, no economics. We're going back to bartering.
fiat currency, not attached to any intrinsic value, and acting like it's not backed by oil and having allies and influence over the world and real estate and land and all of these different things. Why are we just acting as if we were like 10 years ago when I first got into conspiracies and went down the goddamn rabbit holes? Have we not moved on from that part and realized that the world works the way it does? It might not be fair, but that's what we deal with. It's the same
because
as
of hegemonic power. Because of hegemonic power in a fiat currency, which allows us to go into other countries and extract wealth through other different means that allows us to keep control over them. Just like when we stole 50% of Haiti's bank, the money that we stole from Haiti literally wasn't used for anything but a force.
Let him go. 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 Please continue.
Is, though, that
the point is that you don't want to break that liberal standpoint.
But then you don't want to change it. So you want to just
wait. Tyler, did you not say I was quiet the most of the panel?
You were quiet. This is your time. This is your time. This is your time. I'm defending you talking. Go for it.
You're the one shutting yourself up the entire debate, but now all of a sudden you're the victim here. How about you just talk when you have the ability to talk and stop acting like a little bitch about it? The reality is, though, like I said, it's a social construct. As long as we all agree that we're going to use money to transact with one another, the reality has value and it has merit to talk about.
What do you expect from someone who's complaining about?
No, hold on, no.
The dollar value is the strongest currency in what is used across all pretty much 7 continents. Correct? The dollar.
That is what we are talking about.
Okay,
but
so
you broadened it to all money.
Boss, that was his only question. You can let him continue.
Thank you. Like, I'm so surprised.
Thank you.
So
shut the fuck up, please.
Let's put it this way. If you're saying that we should move our money to military spending, then like, what is the money that we're giving to Israel right now? Where is that money coming from?
Around? Wait, we're talking about money not being real. Then we can move on to like
money
Israel.
Is a fashion. Money is a spending. Sorry, money is a token that allows agreements between different countries and different power scales. This is like basic knowledge here. Basically, what I'm telling you is that when you're talking about moving towards military spending or government spending, we are not making decisions here that actually benefit either one of those two things. It is all about imperialist power. We refuse to let go of that imperialist power, which is why the US dollar and the euro are the strongest currencies that exist. We could, in fact, reset this whole system. We could, in fact, do a limit rate on the Wall Street banks, and we could funnel money back into poor people's hands directly without even causing a cent of inflation.
You do not have a single example within history. Hey, Maddie, when you like to tell me to shut the fuck up and wait, what? Just pipe down. All right. The reality is though, Paradigm, that when you're talking about basically imperialism being the status quo of the world and how countries and nations around the world have been able to obtain power, lose power. You're just talking about the way the world works. You're basing it off of, but we could do this. There's not a single example within history where we've hit the reset button and we've materialized this fantasized reality that you exist in.
Israel, 1948. Israel in 1948. Thank you. I win. Game over. Game over. I'm done. You can have the rest of the panel to yourself. You literally just like, thank you.
Anything. You're not talking about anything.
What's happened to
Shut the fuck up. Paradigm. What would be your
Maddie, I actually have a question for you.
There's no point of even talking about this money not being real bullshit. Like, just get with the fucking topic at hand.
It's made up.
It's totally derailed.
Bring us back to the topic on hand.
So science is not real. It's a social construct. It works. It does its job. It provides sense and logic to life. You fucking idiot. Move on.
We are. We're moving on.
All right, we are actually officially moving on. We have money.
To bring us back to topic hand.
Jesus Christ.
Paradigm. What is your ideal
to bring us back to the topic
in a hypothetical, you get to choose it, U.S. federal budget?
Wait, who are you talking to? Me?
Paradigm.
I didn't
ask that question.
Good luck with that. He still has to wrap his brain around about being fucking real.
What would your ideal military spending percentage? It is currently 13%. What would your ideal military spending be if you
4%.
had to say?
4%. 4% and use the leverage over from the bonds that we took from
you would
Japan after
still
the war.
allow?
Yeah,
So you would
I'd
still allow for American,
because we're talking about this in a conversational vacuum, right? If it were up to me, I would just drain the military altogether because we already have enough resources to bomb.
That's what I fucking wanted. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like in the realm of the conversation, I could balance the budget. I've already had conversations with politicians about this balance of the budget. And the reason why they say the same thing that I'm saying, the reason why they say the same thing I'm saying, we're talking Rokana, AOC.
Have you talked to Joseph Robinette Biden about canceling the military? Like you're going to turn off Netflix?
There is not
no, but we did have that conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris during the LGBTQ gala.
That's fucking base.
In New York.
Not a single elected politician in this country.
Anyway, besides all that, you asked for an answer as to why I adjusted this with money is fake.
You would remove
because if we split this conversation into two differing sides, obviously the people who want more government spending on welfare programs are going to want it for poor people because poor people are in the worst condition. Doesn't matter what race you are. However, we have an already abundant military budget that literally does what we are seeing in the world today, which is why I brought up what's been going on in the world today in relation to should we up government spending. People are already saying Israel's not doing enough. They need to get the job done. Meanwhile, I'm over here burying my friends. Bias? Maybe, perhaps. But if I were to say, instead of like one more goddamn missile, maybe like, I don't know, fund a community center. Oh, do the prices equal the same out of that?
Now we're talking. You realize that when you're talking, hey, Paradigm, honest question here. Do you think a single person on this panel, had they been able to hit the reset button, would optimally opt for if we can live in a utopian society where we all have enough money and funding and food and water, we never have to fight each other? Do you think a single? No. Do you think?
I'm giving you the answer. I'm giving you the answer.
Yeah, you're so obnoxious. When you, if everybody could hit the fucking button, do you think a single person on this panel would disagree with you that they would want war to exist?
Yes, I do agree that people would. I do agree that people on this panel would want war to exist. They already said that. You said that in
Gibbs did say he wants war to exist. Gibbs did say that as his moderator. Gibbs is pro war.
Beast, it's not working with me. Tone that down because you wouldn't be talking to me like that here. Like, relax, breathe it down.
The whole reason that war exists is because there is not an abundance of resources in the world. The whole reason.
We imperialized and took over all the resources. And now we have a monopoly on
bro, this is fucking
the reality is that's the world. We don't live in an abundance of resources. That's why war exists.
Okay, I'm gonna give it another like 3 minutes for you guys to wrap this shit up.
He is largely manufactured, but okay.
So the guy who lives in the guy who represents the country that like did the British imperialism and still has most of those monuments in their museums. Is that the guy I'm listening to right now?
He's not British. He's not. He's not British.
The only thing you pointed to is me being able to speak English.
He's legit. No, he's literally not. He's literally not British. He's literally not. That's just it's
fucking with you.
It's just what he sounds. Okay.
Literally fucking with you. You're so mad. You're so mad.
Do you know that? Do you know that he knows that?
Why do you keep associating me with the British Empire?
Yes, he does. He's
because
fucking with you, right?
Because it's funny.
Stupid.
Okay, I think on that point, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
White knight.
The guys who have been talking. You guys are okay. Turk, you tell me what the fucking graph you just brought up is, and explain it to me because I can't see it.
It was the national budget broken down by percentage. So, Paradigm, if I heard you right, you want to bring national defense down to 4%. Is that correct?
In a just world,
yeah. So then where are you going to put that 9% that we took out? Are you putting it all into community and regional development? Where are you putting it?
No, I'm going to do what basically
where
the Wall Street...
Where are you going to address the actual deficit spending? Because you said you balanced the budget and you've been talking to our
No, this is a good question. Can you repeat the first part of the question just so I can answer both?
Go for it.
Can you repeat the first part of the question? Because you said two things.
So you're taking out 9% from the national defense, and in an ideal world, you put it all into community and regional development, right?
No. There are other places to put it. There are other places to put it to generate wealth.
How are you going to pay for it?
Okay, how are we going to pay for it is going to make me relay the same point we already did before. Money is fake.
Money isn't real. Yeah, guys, we can just keep printing. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay,
So
we could.
This is a same team attack, by the way. These guys are actually supposed to be on the same
Why don't you
team.
just engage with the topic paradigm, considering you do have an opinion about it, instead of talking about money not being
All right,
real?
I'm just
Hold no,
Tyler. I quieted him because Turk asked a real question. Literally a good question.
How much
I can't.
money are you going to
engage
print?
with Turk's question.
No,
How much
we're
money
not.
are
We're
you
not
gonna
going
print?
with printing
All right.
money. I was just trying to be funny with him. Anyway, so you
Well, I'm
asked me
being
where I'm
real
going to
with
put the
you.
9%.
How much money are you gonna print?
3% is going back into the stock market. Stock market under dividend bonds that are given out to every citizen under a certain amount. We've already talked about this before with the 1% tax, where we would start giving people bonds at what or stock options when they're born and let them raise through 18. I'm suggesting you just do that a little bit earlier.
So how do you pay for those bonds?
How do you pay for those bonds? They're already paid for. You know the treasury bonds I'm talking about.
From the
I'm
budget
literally taking money from that budget
allocating
and just
So you're
literally
using federal funds to buy bonds to give to people.
We already
You're
do
talking
that.
about
asked me
basically a
if-
sovereign
you
wealth
asked me
fund,
if I
right?
wanted to
That's
do a
what
thing.
it sounds like you're talking about.
What? Say that again. We already do that. I mean, we already. Yeah. I'm just expanding that by funding it by saying, okay, you guys clearly, as a populace, as a United States populace, do not want war. You do not want us to be bombing these kids in Yemen. You do not want us to be bombing these kids over in the Middle East. I could take a portion of that money. We're gonna keep bombing them because we still got the we already bought the missiles. They sitting in the garage right now, ready to go. And I'm gonna put that into growable money for everybody. You can't complain that I didn't try to help y'all climb up the ranks. You will do whatever you want with that at your point, but at least we know, because that seems to be the biggest problem in government. We know exactly where the money's going.
How do you get every other country in the world to agree with your philosophy?
Hold on, I got a question.
You need to do that in order for this to work. In order to pull your entire.
These are things you can look up. These are not my suggestions.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to pull boss. I'm actually gonna have to pull boss.
I got
queries.
I got some questions here. First of all,
I'll take one.
Yeah, that's fine. It's really rhetorical questions. You know why Haiti lost back when you brought that up earlier? Because they didn't have a strong enough military. Guess what? Why are we bombing people in the Houthis and all these other people in the first place? Oh, it's because they're doing crazy shit and it's against our interests. You act like Iran is some friend of ours. Guess what? They're not. Russia's not our friend. China's not our friend. Iran's not our friend. North Korea ain't our friend. There's a bunch of other countries, they don't like America. You know what? Guess what? Sometimes you got to get the bombs. That's what's going to happen. And you know what? I'd rather them get the bombs than them be over here. And hey, so you don't need friends if they're dead. I'm just saying. It's real simple.
Just to add on to this, just to add on, like, I don't even think
investors, like, doesn't mean like I should have to have my tax dollars just be wasted on people that are
actually have opinions, Maddie.
Yeah, so like listen, all these tax dollars and these welfare programs are going to like low economic contributors. They're not helping the U.S. economy. However, the military, guess what? That creates jobs. That creates weapons. That defends us. These are all good things. That's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to pass that off. Responses from Nonfon and Maddie, please.
I just want to add, I don't think it's just in the U.S. this is an interest. Like, the Red Sea is an important trade route. Like, the fact that we're able to bomb the Houthis and to intercept their missiles allows, free trade, which helps the entire world. That's what I wanted to add on to what Gibbs said.
Maddie, take it.
This is ridiculous.
I think what we've seen in terms of what expands the U.S.'s overall influence in the world, and also is the biggest bridger of relationships, especially with countries that culturally maybe don't always see eye to eye with us, is our economic might and economic interdependence. I think economic interdependence is largely going to be a more important driver and more powerful driver to lasting long-term peace or finding common ground than any threat of bombs or whatever else. Like, when you see countries that know that they rely on each other for trade, for economic might, sometimes any sort of exchange of resources, that is going to be so much more important than we have bigger bombs. Like, it is. And that's why you see, like, with other countries that are, have nuclear power, are nuclear armed, we are really good. We have really great trade relationships with them. We make that work out. And what's going to be more important to maintaining our domestic stability is investing in the education of our populace, in the health of our populace, making sure that everyone or the majority of Americans don't have to worry about where their next meal will come from, where they can sleep. making sure that we attend to people's basic needs is going to give us the most solid foundation to then exert economic dominance. So to like say, oh no, we need to invest so much in the military and increase it, and like the amount of bombs that we have is ultimately going to determine how powerful we are. That's so short-sighted and adorable, and like something a toddler would say, like, oh, I have a bigger thing so I can hit you, and that's why you won't do it. Like, no, you're a child.
Gunboat diplomacy.
You would agree though that an increase in that military spending could be used on like building ships for our Navy, which then go out and police the global trade routes, the sea trade routes.
So you think just like larger policing, like border, like patrolling is going to be what strengthens
you would agree,
our country?
You would agree, though,
no, I don't agree.
that hold on, I was about to say another statement.
Okay.
You would agree, though, that if the United States were to leave these areas open, and maybe you're not saying we should, but another country is going to come in and fill the vacuum and start doing what we've been doing for the last several decades, which is basically policing the international waters.
I think, again, when you look at what waters we are policing in and where we allocate resources in terms of military might, what do you think is the main driver behind that in terms of like where we are placing our military?
Wait, what do you think is the main driver? Like, what do you think is the main driver?
Hold on. You do realize right now we police essentially every single major trade route in the world on every body of water.
It's trade route, correct? We're placing our military in strategic locations so that we are protecting our primarily economic interests. Am I right?
Yes.
Wait. So are you saying that the Houthis and the Somali pirates and like these people just don't exist?
When have I ever said that?
Okay, so they do exist, right? Right. So they do exist. So you agree that we need to protect these trade routes for everybody's economic interest, right? From these adversarial powers. What?
Do you think they're not being protected right now?
No, they're not. They are being protected, but they are under attack.
And you think that's where the majority of our...
The question is, if America doesn't do it, who's going to provide defense for them?
A portion of it does go to, our
I'm not
Navy.
saying that America's not going to. When did I say that?
You're arguing that you don't want them to.
Boss, hush, please.
You were just trying to...
Thank you.
I'm not talking, by the way.
Thank you so much.
You made a dumbass statement. You are equating military spending to just building bombs.
Okay.
That's a fucking stupid thing to say.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad you're going to contribute something to the conversation now.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Cool. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that, including, as I said in my opener, I think it is important to have a well-funded military. I think it's critical that we, there are certain resources and things that we do right now that absolutely are critical for maintaining peace, for protecting the American company's interests. There's a lot of things that we do right now that are absolutely necessary and critical. However, if we're talking about, do we need to increase the military budget? So much of the military budget doesn't necessarily go towards those efforts and those programs that really
what do you think it goes to?
Impact.
Can you tell me what it goes to?
Getting there. I'm literally getting there. Could you just,
You're literally getting there. Give me one example. What's the number one thing?
I'm sorry. The start of your sentence interrupted the middle of mine. I'm so sorry.
Now you know how I felt the whole time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Get to your point. God damn it.
Do it. Jesus Christ.
Why? Okay, Russia. So.
What do you mean Russia? I've been called British and Russian.
Get to your fucking point.
Maddie. Yes.
Are you guys ready? You guys done?
We will skip you if you don't do it right now. We'll skip you if you don't do it right now.
Die at some point, so Jesus Christ.
Are you trying to think of what you're going to say?
No, she doesn't think. Just say. Just come on, Maddie.
You can do it. One word at a time for you?
Come on.
Is it one word at a time?
Are you done? Okay. Great. So as I said, we have those things that are currently working. A lot of our resources in the military right now go to defense contractors. They go towards building bombs. They go towards, by the way, building there's certain planes right now that don't even do a good job of actually flying. And we waste billions of dollars in those programs. When I see just how much
35? The fucking envy of every country?
No, she's talking about the one the Marines use.
I would like to finish.
Yeah. Well, you don't stop.
There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of glut in the military right now. And honestly, if our overall goal is to make the United States safer, that money could be better spent contributing to things that actually strengthen the United States and aren't just show.
Like what?
Like literal fucking social programs.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
That's why we say you ramble. Yeah, amazing. The reality is,
karma.
The reality is,
Maddie, for my Google Doc, which of these colors would you remove?
Here we go. Here we go. Here's a Google Doc. It's back. Let's go.
No, which colors?
Let's go.
Let's see. We have Air Force, Navy. Oh, you want me? You think I should just remove the
which
entire
ones
budget?
No, which ones should we remove?
I'm not removing.
Just answer the question.
Whether you want me to answer whether I would defund the Air Force?
Yeah, how much would you defund the Air Force?
She clearly would. She doesn't like the planes.
Put it there. So where do you put it from? Where do you put it?
Details. I know I would have to look at because it's not just
okay. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Brilliant.
Can we move on? Yeah, move on. Maddie, you're done with this. You're done with this. They kind of got you on that one. Next topic.
Okay, so paradigm.
Move on.
The reality is that when we live in a world that has always been dictated by war and ruled by that way, if you want to shift towards a society or a world where we no longer have wars, you have to realize that America deciding to do it doesn't mean that the rest of the world is going to do it. So once again, saying that money isn't real and you can't be able to deal with these things is one part of that aspect. But then saying that finding an agreement, you realize like this is the 100,000-year-old question that no civilization has ever been able to answer. Like it's crazy to live in this utopian reality. So yes, before you're even capable to talk about whether we should fund.
You're muted.
You hate coffee things.
He's not muted. Saying anything of value anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it really his whole point falls apart whenever he starts talking about.
I'm going to ask everybody to shut the fuck up, like for 5 seconds, because it is insane to me that there are a group of people who are watching this.
You were muted. What? You were muted.
Yeah, you're delusional.
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, like, really, his whole point falls apart whenever you say, like, hold on. Boss made a good point there. Actually, he goes, "There's other countries that don't want to work." Oh, well, good. I'm glad. I agree. I'm going to agree with you on this one. He argued earlier that there's other countries that won't.
Enjoy the rest of the panel. Shut up. I don't.
Won't buy in.
Won't buy in. What a whiny bitch.
So boss made a good point. I'm gonna be real quick. He made a good point. He says these other countries won't engage, even within his own argument.
We are the bloodthirstiest warmongers on the planet. What are you talking about?
Hold on. Even within your argument, if these countries had better militaries, they wouldn't have got taken over by the bloodthirstiest group in the world, whatever. If we send in the B-52s, maybe you have something good enough to stop it. Maybe they should stop spending money on their social programs and up the spending on the military. And that's what we should do. And that gives hardworking Americans more jobs.
Paradigm.
None of that is real.
It is real.
What you just said is real.
It is real.
Come on.
Wait, you just said
that if we fund the military, it's going to give Americans more jobs.
It's called. We need bullets. We build bullets. We need boats. We build boats. We need aircraft. We build aircraft. We need computer chips. We build computer chips. I mean, what industry do you think is
food
bad?
Programs more.
Okay, I'm going to pull the Gibbs.
You have an answer to any of this, or you're just talking over me?
I'm pulling you. I'm sorry.
Food stamps? Do you have food stamps, Admiral?
Paradigm.
Gibbs? Does anybody here have food stamps? Anybody ever been to an HRA office?
Paradigm. Which of these colors would you remove from this chart? These are the different programs you're wanting to cut funding from to fund your things. So which one are you cutting?
Okay, before you even answer, I gotta hop in here. I don't know. I'm looking. I have this on this. I can't see this, man. This is from the mod. I cannot read this shit. I do not have my fucking Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass to read this tiny ass thing. No one can tell what the fuck you're talking about.
He's basically showing like different divisions of the military. So one is
Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie, hold on. I know what the fuck he's showing. I can't fucking see it, and neither can the people at home. So it's a pointless visual metaphor because I can't fucking see and read what he's putting up to look at, Maddie. Shut the fuck up. God fucking damn it. Stop putting things on a tiny screen that people need to read that doesn't show up when it gets re-encoded. Stop.
What's funny here is Maddie can read it and you can't.
Yeah, and I'm the one that fucking matters, dipshit, because I'm the fucking goddamn referee. So stop putting it up.
I didn't read on the screen.
She didn't read it on the screen
here's
either.
Something that I'd like to ask.
She caught it in the reflection of your fucking forehead.
Not specifically.
Next person.
Here's
That's
something.
a personal attack.
There is something that
from the moderator.
Yeah, because you
Can
keep
you guys
putting up
hear me?
goddamn pictures. Cut it out.
Okay.
Maddie, if I
There
rewind
is
the
something
VOD too, if I remember correctly, your opening statement was that you wanted to cut military funding. You saw the benefits of the military funding. So why did
increase military funding?
Oh, it's just, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. You're gonna confuse her now. Don't worry about it.
Well, brotherhood. Love it.
Well,
So
right now, well, you're the only one making, well, not the only one, but
I
you've
love
been making really stupid fucking statements. So it's not like me and Boss are on the same
True,
side of
madam.
shit.
Let's go.
You
Moving to
expand
the
on
next
that.
point.
There is.
You have
Oh, no,
concept.
don't come in
Please
here
let him-
asking us to
please.
expand. If you missed the last fucking 20 minutes of the goddamn debate,
No,
what
I
do you mean
heard the whole
expand
thing.
on it.
I
You
heard
ask
the-
her a
no, I heard the
question,
time
where do you want to
limit.
put
Oh my
the money
God.
from? Where do you want to
I
put
heard
it?
the whole
Hey, let him
Answer it.
answer a question. Let him
Get to your
respond.
point then. Get to your point.
Okay.
then.
Go to
I've been, okay. Here's what I don't get. So,
I'm
Maddie,
just
you've
curious.
acknowledged all the
I
benefits of the
honestly
military.
don't understand how you can look
Oh,
at
it's
how
obvious
the
you can
federal
understand.
government
Yeah.
currently spends its money and go, well, you know, obviously if we just pulled it from one area and shifted it to another area, it's gonna, you know, somehow solve our problems. It seems like just like
Yeah, that's what I said.
there's a basic lack of understanding on how this works. And
Oh, okay.
it just makes me curious.
Oh,
You
okay.
said you had a degree in economics. Now, could you please explain to the panel the
From Udemy.
importance of policing global trade routes?
The economics of policing global trade routes?
No, the economic benefits of policing global trade routes and being the one who does
Okay.
it.
Of the United States
ahead.
policing global trade routes in areas where there is a tangible external threat that may prevent an international trade. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, because that's very
Damn,
much a
it
thing.
seems like you
That's
actually
very much
just
a thing.
can't listen
Yes.
either. You
Were
obviously
you not listening?
lack the
I literally
ability
just
to.
said it's critical. Like the American military or one of the entities
I asked
that
you, what
protects
are the
international trade routes.
economic
I'm
benefits?
literally can I
You have
let me answer that
not one
question.
time
Let me answer
given
that
me-
question.
Ah,
No,
for
here, listen.
God's sake.
You asked the question. Could I just please let me try to answer? Okay, we can
Please.
engage. So the economic benefit of us protecting those routes is that, like, well, first of all, a lot of the people that are actually using those routes, those merchants, those are direct economic interests of the American companies. So if there's any sort of risk, added risk, if there's any sort of, whether it's material loss because of pirates, something else, that directly harms the overall American economy. The benefit of having the United States being responsible for policing those routes or providing additional security is that it gives us a lot more. And I mean, it's all about large international economic
sound like
influence.
Kamala.
And we are the people that are actually doing that policing. It also gives us a lot more influence for other countries that are using those exact same routes. It's all sort
Okay,
of about
we're
this like large
Great, you get-
imperial.
okay. If we
Thank
stop
you.
doing that, what do you think
And
would
no
happen?
one's saying we should. I'm not saying we should stop doing that.
Okay,
That's
Here's
why
the
you
problem
disagree
with your
with
position, though, Maddie. There is something that
When did I
Why
say-
you
when did I say we
disagree
should
with
stop
You,
doing that?
you
Let's let
wanted
Alacrity
to
talk.
pull
Let's-
money and
Jesus
put it in
Christ.
other places.
Okay.
That is what
So
you
the-
said.
Let's
That
let Alacrity
contradicts-
say
Yeah.
some words.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I do have a question for
Is
you.
he
Maddie.
actually
So you've
here?
acknowledged that. So you've acknowledged that there are all those benefits to it, right? But I mentioned it. Yes, but I mentioned at the beginning, we have problems with our Navy, specifically currently. There are a bunch of maintenance backlogs. We don't have the capability to rapidly repair ships in the Navy if we ever did go to war. But meanwhile, if you look at our social spending, if you converted all the benefits to cash, the bottom quintile of income quintile of Americans, each person would have $33,000. And so if you simply converted all of the monetary benefits from our programs to cash now, we could simply eliminate a lot of the poverty that currently exists. And furthermore, some evidence to
Oh
suggest
my
that this is even too
God.
much money is the fact that since 1965 to now, the labor force participation rate for said quintile has fallen from 70 to 36%. So if anything, that suggests that those resources that we're giving too many resources to them. They're expending too many resources in an inefficient manner. So why would you oppose cutting the programs and giving it to the military so we can fix some of our problems that we have with our Navy, for example.
Again, when I talk about military spending in general, I am not necessarily saying like, oh no, we need to make huge cuts. What I'm saying is that in a lot of the ways we are currently spending in the military, we don't necessarily need, we can reallocate a lot of that spending, because I think you're 100% right. Things like maintenance to legacy ships, to a lot of our existing infrastructure, that is absolutely a worthy military cause. Investing in Army Engineering Corps. That's a massive force that can do large scale infrastructure projects. That is a worthy thing to invest in. Investing in our VA and like actually supporting veterans and taking care of people who have served our country. That is absolutely worthy of getting increased spending. However, where so much of our spending goes is to developing more weapons, producing more things. Like, we don't need that. We already outspend every other country on earth. I think like 2 times over. That's not what is contributing to our safety. So while maintaining these existing programs that are absolutely worthwhile and have a tangible impact. I'm sorry, boss. Did you have something to say?
You keep contradicting yourself. Here's the problem, though. Right? It's driving me fucking mental. You're driving me fucking mental. I'm literally gonna start scratching the fucking walls any second now. Like, the reality is, Maddie. Oh, okay. I'll do the thing you do. Have you stopped talking now? Huh? Have you done it? Huh? Okay, shut the fuck up. The reality is, though, that do you have a problem with military spending? Do you have a problem with the military spending? Yes or no? Yes or no?
How it's allocated. Sure.
Yes. Do you have a problem?
Well, here, Maddie, can I ask you this? Like, the thing I brought up, like the missile interceptors, which protect indiscriminate rockets fired into Israel from Hamas or Hezbollah. Would you have a problem with that?
Do I have a problem with inceptors? No.
Defensive missile interceptors that protect Israeli civilians.
That contradicts what you just said. So your answer should have been yes.
All or nothing. So if I have a problem with like, hey, I think the way we allocate a lot of funds is wrong, you're like, then you hate all military spending? Like,
no, because you're saying how we're allocating funds towards research and development, and then he gives you a perfect example or a prime example of when you would allocate funds towards research and development, and you go, oh yeah, that's totally fine. My mind is broken right now. I cannot deal with you.
Okay, good.
I need some water. Sorry, Mod. I need water.
Yeah,
she's driving me fucking mental.
Hey, Maddie.
Okay, bye.
Well, Maddie, the problem with what you said is
Maddie, would you like would you like a point to help you here? I could throw out a lifeline for you.
I would love that.
Raytheon and Lockheed just spent $28 million on one missile. When you really start asking yourself about, you said it's good?
It is good.
Wait, what missile is
buy
it?
that missile from us?
What missile is it, Paradigm?
$28 million for a single missile.
Yo, we got links, bro, because they want proof.
No, I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah.
What is the model?
Let's actually. I think it's what?
I believe. Here's the thing, bro. I believe you. I believe you, Paradigm. I don't even need you to give me the source. But here's the thing about that missile: is it went to creating jobs. It went to R&D. It went to creation of the missile. They went the products that went into it. It went to all these different things. You know what? You asked earlier if anybody here, if I was on EBT. No, I'm not on EBT because I'm not a lazy piece of shit. I go and contribute to the economy. I work. I fucking get jobs done. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and buy your whole welfare, help everybody's economy state. When the military, these people get paid for college. That some of the money gets allocated to the military, goes towards the GI Bill. These people are sitting here getting jobs done. All these things are going towards American industry and excellence. And why do you hate American industry and excellence? Is a better question. By the way, one more point. You said it's not true. Here's the thing. You said, money doesn't matter. You said money doesn't exist. You said bombs don't exist. The bombs seem to exist.
You just said
bombs seem to exist and people get blown up.
You just said how all of that money, blah, 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 is going to creating jobs and everything. It seems like out of that 28 mil, which is actually growing up to be 1.3 billion, their sales only attribute for 2% of their entire revenue.
Yeah, 28 million is a very small number considered.
Right. So like up here, it seems like the contracts that they have here for their executives that are in their Yeah, the executives
listen,
take
if you
most of the
took
money.
every Fortune 500 executive and took their entire pay, it still wouldn't fix the homelessness problem. It still wouldn't fix the social welfare problem. So everything you're talking about is total bullshit.
Matter of fact, no, you said that. I just want to address that. How do you know that they wouldn't
Because we
help?
know what these are reported. We know what they're reported. We know what the
No,
I didn't.
that's not what I asked. I said, how do you know that it wouldn't help?
Because it's a drop in the bucket, jackass. It's real simple.
So $1 billion is a drop in the bucket to, like, let's say 5 people.
The federal budget?
The federal budget?
No, I'm
Like,
talking
you
directly
understand?
to him.
I know that you don't. You think that money doesn't exist, but for the rest of us that live in the real world, money does exist.
Steven,
I'm
because
sorry.
that talking point is like old. Like,
It's
I'm
not
trying
old.
to
It's
ask you a
factual.
question.
It's the
Can
here and
you
the now.
answer me the
I know.
question.
Listen, I know
Why
that
do
you're
you
trying
think
to.
that money wouldn't help fix the homelessness crisis? You just said it's a drop in the bucket, right?
Bro,
Yeah, but then your response was it will solve 5 people's lives.
Yeah, like,
this is your response. We're not talking about 5 people's lives. We're talking about America.
Brother, I need you to calm down because you are literally like not. You're so far out of your depth.
What you're talking about.
You're so far out of your depth. And you know what's crazy about you? No, Daniel, I'm gonna break the wall. I'm gonna break the wall. You looking dumb right now, bro. You looking dumb to everybody. You're looking dumb. I'm just letting you know right now. It's not looking good for you. It's not looking good for you. It don't matter how you think you feel. I'm telling you the truth. Like, it's not looking good for you. On the outside.
I know this works for you with everybody else.
I'm gonna give you both. You're both getting 5 for fighting.
Well, Maddie, a problem with what you said. To respond to the point. Maddie, the problem with what you said is, yeah, we do spend more than every other country, but on a percentage GDP basis, it isn't that much. Furthermore, we have some chronic weaknesses that only expending much more would fix. For example, China's shipbuilding capability is 232 times greater than ours. So if we actually subjected our military to stress in a next war, which with China would be most likely, we are underprepared in that regard. Furthermore, like I said earlier, given the amount of resources we've given to spending on welfare, so much so that the labor force participation rate for the bottom quintile has gone from 70 to 36%. Why is it that you think it'd be more worthwhile to spend more on social spending than the military, given those chronic deficiencies?
So again, when I think about the U.S. as an empire, when I think about what contributes to us being the most powerful force on Earth, the most powerful country on Earth, and when I think about what those external threats are that may hamper our ability to exert our influence, both economically, culturally, militarily, etc. I don't think a, quote, underfunded military is going to be the key multiplier on that. And what history has shown us and what a lot of like the data has shown us is that the biggest driver for maintaining peace, including with China, is economic interdependence. And that's why countries kind of tiptoe around. You'll never see China or the United States directly attack each other because of that, because we know that our economic strength and the health of our economies are dependent on each other. And that is what has been, that's why since World War II, you haven't seen war break out in the same way that it did frequently in history prior to that. And it's because of that increased globalization and economic interdependence. So
you realize we have more war than ever, right?
Military strength is important. While military strength is important, I think that an empire, United States, our endurance is going to be much more dependent on its ability to sustain itself economically and maintain social cohesion.
Be aware we only have 5 minutes left in the open panel.
Yeah. So hold on. I really want to blow a hole in what she just said real quick. And what Paradigm just said. Here, you know what's interesting? Welfare spending as of 2023 was $1 trillion. So this guy's talking about $1 billion. Like that's a drop, not a drop in the bucket compared to the $1.1 trillion spent on welfare compared to and then we look at what the military spent this year in 2023, 823 billion. So clearly Paradigm doesn't understand money, and that's why he wants to keep bringing it up. As for the
battery, he don't.
Yeah. Listen, I understand money, you don't. Anyway, listen, going back to what she's saying about the interconnectivity, yeah, that's great. That's real good. And that shit works until it doesn't. And then a country invades and takes over. There's a reason right now why the Taliban is gearing up to go to war with all the countries around them, because guess what they're doing? They're doing stuff like building a big giant water canal and stealing other countries' water and cutting it off. Because guess what? It's in their economic interest to do this, and it's not in their economic interest to for these other countries to do it, and they're all about to fight. So clearly, people's economic interests don't always align, and war happens.
Okay, sure.
Also, furthermore, Maddie, while you are true broadly, that is the trend. The problem with China specifically is that they also take advantage of the international order, and they haven't shown any signs of stopping. Furthermore, Maddie, regarding Taiwan specifically,
or any of this shit.
Furthermore, Maddie, regarding Taiwan specifically, China has shown that it is fairly aggressive in that regard, and it won't give up. So, yes, in a general sense, economic integration is good. But when you come to particular cases, such as China's aggression against Taiwan, we do need to be able to defeat them in combat, because if they're able to take over Taiwan, then that would put us at a severe economic disadvantage long-term, given Taiwan's strategic placement, as well as their specific industries such as semiconductors. So in that regard, Maddie, I think your position is mistaken.
This is the problem.
And just to add on to that, if you think globalization is good, you should probably want the U.S. to defend trade routes, right?
Exactly. This is the problem. You keep pointing at the United States.
If you could roll back the tape and point out when I said I don't want us to have any presence anywhere.
This VOD will be available on Westside Tyler Live, by the way.
You also say that it provides benefits for the United States, and it actually works in their benefit, considering they're the super. Everything you say just contradicts itself.
Maybe you didn't say that, Maddie. Honestly, I zoned out when everyone was screaming.
No, she did. The reality is, though, that you're looking at the United States and saying bad. You're saying United States bad. And then you're saying draw money from the military and then devote it to 5 fucking poor people, and then somehow you're going to achieve the fucking good result for your country. The reality is, even if you do that, United States, will China, will Russia, will the fucking Middle East? No, they've never abided by fucking international law. That was it. Oh, right. Oh, you're okay with fucking jumping in people's sentences.
You know, Boss was talking about how much he loves candy corn.
We're going to start talking Maddie, are we?
He
Brilliant. Nothing said, nothing inserted.
And it was almost embarrassing how much he loves candy
nothing
corn.
of value.
Okay, well, this is off topic. One thing,
God forbid.
Like, Boss, that's not the topic. We already talked about
one thing I do want to add, I do think a lot of welfare spending is pretty inefficient. There was an Atlanta Fed study put out that showed just how bad some of the welfare cliffs are. A single mother with one child would not see any gain in income from like $13,000 a year to $60,000 a year because you reduce benefits as your income increases. So this is like a horrible welfare cliff here. However, I do think they are at least somewhat effective at keeping people out of poverty, even if there isn't an incentive to work. There are people who don't receive factor payments simply because they don't contribute factors, whether it be they don't work or they don't own anything. They don't provide their capital to receive factor payments. For those people, I think things like, Social Security, which helps retired people, things like unemployment insurance do help a lot of people. I think about 48 million people are kept out of poverty by these programs, is the estimate from the Census Bureau. And I think there are a few pretty good welfare programs that could be expanded. The earned income tax credit, that increases the labor supply because of the phase-in. And, the expanded child tax credit is probably pro-productivity in the long run. But I mean, ultimately, I think we should just switch over to more universal benefits. Like I said, cut back on food stamps and just give people free money.
And I think that's a great place to round things up. I want to give you guys just a little bit of a factoid. We are going to go into final statements for the day here in just a second. Factoid of the moment from Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance. The most expensive missile put out by America is apparently the Next Generation Interceptor at $111 million. The $28 million missile is the Standard Missile 3 SM3 Block 2A. There you go. Folks, we're going to be going into that order that we've been going through the entire time. You have 2 minutes to say your final piece and also shout out people so they can at least find you, figure out where you are, get some summations in, throw your last barbs, but remember, try to minimize the crosstalk so that we can get everyone through and get the fuck out of here. Thank you very much. We are kicking it off with Boss. 2 minutes.
Let's fucking go. Okay, the reality is that I have one issue when it comes to people. Like, I can deal with the fucking Trump sycophants and fuck idiots that I will encounter. But one thing I can't deal with is somebody who proposes or pushes their narrative that they're somehow this intrinsically nice individual and they care about human beings and they want to see good benefits. Guess what? The reality is, if we lived in a world where that was even a potential, that we could strive towards that, by the way, international laws, humanitarian rights, these are things that the West has pushed out to the rest of the world and said, hey, this is our effort, the effort that we're making to reach better results going into the future. The problem is that only the West abides by them and they cut the shit out of themselves because they can't break the rules, but everybody else can do whatever the fuck they want and then hold the United States and the West accountable for abiding by their own rules. But then we have these fucking dumbass pieces of shit that will come up in here and tell you, oh yeah, America should just cut all of its military spending. We should not do any more wars, guys. And we should just like make poor people better. Oh, thank you. Thank you, almighty Lord, that you've uncovered the mystery of the universe that has existed for the last thousands of years, you brain dead fucking chimp. The reality is that just because you do it, they've never even shown a remorse for trying to do anything good. But yeah, yes, I'm the boss. You can find more of this and a common fucking logic and reason, whatever. But again, yes, I'm the boss. That's it. Yeah, that's where you're going to find me. All over Twitch, Kick, YouTube, so on and so forth. Next. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Thank you. Not all comments represent what happens on Hippy Dippy Roundtable Recruitment. We're going to move on to Alacrity before he loses connection. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem anymore. I will say I found this whole thing delightful, especially coming out of retirement for 2 years. But I would say that regarding this topic, I don't think much progress was made on it, though I do think that a conclusive case was shown by some that the military spending is a bit more important, not because we're not spending enough on social programs, but because of the fact that if we fix the inefficiency of them, we would have more money left over to spend on the military. At least that was my position. Furthermore, you can find me on Alacrity77. That is my YouTube channel. And I hope to see more of you.
Cool. Thank you. And shout out the McDonald's that let you finally hog on to their Wi-Fi, buddy. Moving on to Nonfon, you got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm Nonfon. Nonfon on YouTube and on everyone. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube so I can get monetized. So I'd really appreciate if it's up there. But yeah, I think the boss made a good point actually, where he, said like, I think the reason why the Western military force is important is because we do abide by the laws of war that in many cases are pushed forward by us more than other countries. I think our interests are mostly aligned with stability because the global order right now, if it's stable, benefits the US. I think those two things are pretty good. And on, welfare spending, I don't think poverty should exist in the US, but at the same time, I do think our welfare is very inefficient. Repeal a lot of the welfare we have now, replace it with a UBI, and close a gap in the deficit with a land value tax and a destination-based cash flow tax and a progressive consumption tax, and maybe with a sovereign wealth fund as well. That's how you fix poverty. That's my statement.
Thank you very much, Nonfon. Moving on to Half-Baked Takes. You got 2 minutes.
You did it again. All right. I just want to say thank you to all the panelists. Appreciate screaming at all of you. It's always fun. I think it's based that America is the world's hegemon, and we control, or at least police and help maintain control over the global sea trade routes, and we get to benefit economically and be the superpower in the economics department as well. So this is all positive. Status quo, as Paradigm might hate to hear, is pretty based right now. I will say though, I don't think throwing money at the problem has ever shown to be just the be-all end-all solution to especially our domestic issues. So let's look into other ways of addressing things like homelessness, things like people on food stamps, issues like that. All right. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Half-Baked Takes. Moving on to Maddie. Take it away. You are muted.
Money.
Oh, never mind. You're
money. What? Yeah.
You had a real bad delay. Sorry. You're good. You're good.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's funny how people say, "Oh, well, throwing money at it won't solve problems on anything except the military." So cool. But again, when I look to historical context, it's pretty clear that focusing entirely on the military while neglecting the social cohesion within the United States without making big investments in things like public education, things like healthcare, things like housing, and addressing food shortages and food insecurity. Ultimately, our demise and the weakening of our country and our power as an empire is going to come from those things, not because we didn't spend another $110 million on a single bomb. When you talk about why do I care, that's such a drop in the bucket. $110 million could go towards building multiple homeless shelters. It could go towards making sure that there are now families out there who don't have to sleep on the street, who have a safe place to rest their head, to take their children. That can mean the difference in people's lives. And that's what we're talking about. And do we need another 5 bombs when we could spend that $500 million on making tangible improvements to people's lives? And thus, when those people are doing well, that also contributes to our economy doing well. It's not really a great economic strategy to have an impoverished, sick, demoralized population. They don't make the greatest workers. So while I think, yeah, a well-funded military is absolutely critical, and of course it is, I also think that there's more we can do with better allocating that budget. Also, calling someone a fucking chimp is racist, and you're a fucking racist piece of shit, and how fucking dare you? So go fuck yourself, you stupid fucking moron.
Okay, I was going to let her finish that part. Moving on to the Turk.
Hey, so yeah, like I've already said my case. You know, I'm cool with us wanting to balance budgets and whatnot, and reallocating towards things that we find important as a nation, right? That's why I continue to ask the panelists, and I got an honest answer from Paradigm, and I just think it's kind of unrealistic of what he was trying to accomplish and the numbers that he was wanting to use. I did the math. That's like taking out 70% of the entire defense budget. So it's not just like cutting corners. That's like getting rid of the Air Force and getting rid of the Navy and the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard. So it's like, when you start doing debates like this, it's really important to have actual like arguments that are not just like wishful thinking, right? So, and that's why, you know, I apologized in the past one. My data was bad, and I apologized to boss. But it's like, Paradigm, I really think your numbers are just nonsensical, and you really should, you know, talk to some of your elected officials on where you're not really seeing reality. You guys, I'm conservative. You can find me over on, not Twitch. I don't stream anymore. YouTube.com/TheTerk. You can also find me on X as TheTerk. But thanks for having me on. I hope you guys can not yell over each other and make it to the big leagues so you can have real arguments and debates with real online pundits. So thanks.
Very calm and straightforward people, just like Rob Noor. Folks, moving on to Paradigm for 2 minutes.
Yo. Okay. Last statements. I was told to say this. Not told to, but I think this is the right way to follow it. We don't follow our own rules as far as U.S. law is considered. We literally threatened the ICC and the ICJ multiple times over the condemnation of Israel's actions. All the White House press briefings have literally been attacking the journalists, saying, we would understand that you'd like us to see just ending our support to Israel, but that won't happen. Matt Miller verbatim said that word for word. The idea of us being the stable forces in countries all around the world makes no sense when we are literally debating whether or not we want a piece of shit or a dildo as a president. You guys would have great jobs at the State Department because you're great State Department talking heads. We literally asked the White House, why aren't we following lay laws? And after the White House gave its clearly stupid ass answer, the guy who wrote the laws says that the U.S. are not following them. So, like, I don't know who we're listening to here, but That's on to y'all. You brought up the last thing I think that to bring up is the missile thing. I appreciate you bringing up that link. And you had said I should find my figures and talk to my representatives about living in reality. Okay, great idea about the missiles. Only thing is, how many of those can you make a year? Maybe make one less a year and you can afford about 100 homes. I don't know where it was lost in translation that like this wasn't the easy solution, but I was trying to treat y'all like
30
adults.
seconds.
Feel like that wasn't happening. So basically, in many cities around the U.S., empty Airbnbs outnumber the homeless. Like
15?
Capitalism, imperialism, things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. Before you start spending your money to bomb other places, focus here. Isn't that what you want to make America great again?
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Admiral Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to start with all this. I guess I'll start with who I am. I'm Admiral Gibbs. I'm a conservative. You can find me on Twitch, Kick, everywhere, as Admiral Gibbs. Moving on, let's just do last thoughts. Yeah, you know, these people, they don't know what they're talking about. First, we're talking about the cutting military spending. Coast Guard, someone brought that up. I don't know who it was, but guess what? I guess they like cocaine. I guess cocaine doesn't create poor people, because without the Coast Guard, the cocaine corridor would be coming through the Caribbean, will run roughshod. But guess what? The Coast Guard shut that down. That's a true thing. This guy also talked about how everybody's happy, so happy-go-lucky, how our economic interests going on. Well, then he mentioned Haiti, which is really interesting. If Haiti had a built and better military, we wouldn't have walked in there and took their shit. Guess what? Iraq, we walked in there, we took their shit. Looks like, guess what? We can go in there and do what we want because we have the military. These people should start spending more money on their military. He talked about empty Airbnbs for some reason. Oh, capitalism is so bad. No, bitch. Capitalism is based. You know why there's empty Airbnbs? Because people worked their whole life and got these Airbnbs. Either their parents did, they did, someone did. I'm sorry that I'm not a lazy piece of shit that doesn't contribute to the economy at all. You know what? I have a solution for you. You want a welfare? Why don't you go join the military? Then you can get 3 square meals a day. You can get in shape. Maybe they'll get you off the drugs. You'll be not homeless no more, and you'll be around a platoon of new friends. And guess what? I don't have to hear no more bitching about, oh, Sally couldn't pay for her daughter's ramen noodles this week. That, guess what? I paid for because I worked and my tax dollars went to it. And guess what? I'm sick of this
30
bullshit.
seconds.
And I guess the average Americans are sick of it too. You know what? I think that maybe Trump wants a little more isolationism, sure. However, I'm going to just play this on my outro. This is the world's smallest violin playing My Heart Cries for You, and for these poor people that couldn't go and find a job,
15 seconds.
even though the jobs report is just so good. It's oxymorons, it's bullshit, and it's hypocrisy. That's all they got.
Okay, thank you very much, Admiral Gibbs. Ladies and gentlemen, theys, thembies, and any and all pronouns, thank you for once again coming out to the finest 2.5 hours of political debate available on the World Wide Web. We invite you to seek out any and all of our contestants and support them on their streaming platforms of note. Special thanks as always to our event organizer, Danabo, the original Hippy Dippy chairman himself, and mobile Russian drone test target Dylan Burns. Support Dylan's work in Ukraine and the original Hippy Dippy on Dylan Burns TV and Dylan Burns Live. Follow him on Twitter at DylanBurns1776 to keep in the loop. Finally, thank you to me, Tyler Bell, your wonderful, handsome, and god-tier host. If you want to support me, my regular show runs Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. EST on YouTube and Twitch. Just search Westside Tyler and you'll find me. Finally, follow me on Twitter as well to keep up to date on all my shit posting at Tyler Westside, and make sure to mark your calendars for our next Hippy Dippy recruitment show on November 3rd. And until next time, as always, stay safe out there. Everybody say bye. Bye. Bye! Oh my god! Yes, we're just saying goodbye! We're saying goodbye! Oh, stop!
Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ, what a show. Wow. Wow. Talk about a program. Talk about a program.